All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Market Prep. I hope you guys are having an amazing morning. Hope you guys had an incredible day yesterday. Good morning, Peter. How you doing today?
Good morning, Carlos. I am doing great on this special middle day. So,
I
uh,
like that.
well, and let me share with you guys. So, I don't. My daughter and I like to share days of special significance all the time, right? Days that are, that make a palindrome, that have special significance. And today is July 2nd, 2025, and that means it is the middle day of this week. It is the middle day of the year. So, Carlos, and I want to thank Art, by the way, for pointing this out to me. I didn't realize this till she pointed out. Long-term member in the chat room and one of my favorite people. She pointed out this is the 183rd day of the year. So that means we have 182 days behind us and 182 days in front of us. And we are exactly at the midpoint of this year. So if you've got objectives this year, you still have exactly half a year to achieve them. And so happy middle day, everybody. And enjoy that feeling where you're exactly halfway through. So.
The new stuff there, guys. Did not know that.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, friends. Now you know if you didn't. Let's take a look here at our gappers list this morning. We got a bunch of stuff in the green, a little bit in the red, and some more stuff active that is not on our list right now, like Tesla and some other ones that I expect to see some action out of are usually our usual suspects. So we'll get into all of that. But first, U.S. economic data, Peter. What do we have scheduled for the middle of the day for the entire year?
Pretty quiet on this middle day. The only thing I have on the schedule was the earlier ADP employment numbers that came out. As you can see, not good. A lot lower than anticipated. The forecast was for growth of about 99,000 jobs. Instead, we saw a contraction of 33,000 jobs. And this sort of contradicts some of the earlier job information we had, which was actually slightly more positive than anticipated, or at least on target. This forecast seems to be significantly under and the anticipated numbers. So you think could be bad for the market. I mean, the market didn't largely react. We did see a little bit of a dip down on the SPY and the Qs when that number came out at 8:15 this morning, but not that much. This morning we are seeing markets trending slightly lower, but I mean really, really slight. We're talking about 1/3%. So it's obviously recoverable. And hey, with this market, it's always recoverable, isn't it? So you never count anything out. As Andrew was preaching yesterday, and he's absolutely 100% correct. You can come in with a point of view, but don't let that bias your perspective if the data shows you different, right? So it's good to have an opinion. As to paraphrase a long-term expression that I think this is a Buffett quote, or I don't know who originally said it, but you can have strong convictions but loosely held. I think that always applies to the market, right? Have a bias, but hold it loosely. Meaning, if you see data that tells you that you should be moving in the other direction, don't be afraid to reject that bias and change your point of view. So, in any event, it largely was it Plato. All right, then Plato said that. Okay, there you go. That probably makes more sense. I have no idea. Anyways, whatever you believe. Hopefully you trade smart today, again, on a light economic data day and a light earnings day. I mean, I was looking to say, have we got some earnings? Not really. So let's look at the gappers because it's really all we've got to give us some indication of what might be moving other than the usual suspects.
All right, friends, let's jump right into it. First one on deck is NAMM. So let's take a look what's happening here. Low flow stock of 1.4 million shares float trading right now. 4 million shares traded so far, up 51%. So again, low flow stock that's really active as far as volume. So far in the pre-market, as high as 17, back down to 10, as low as 8. So it's been around here a little bit. Daily, again, just a typical low flow type stock, right? Looks like recent IPO as well. Yeah, it just opened up on the 6th of last month. So don't like it. Not something I'll be looking at. Peter, what's your thoughts?
I'm thinking this has got warning signs all over it. So recent IPO, as you've mentioned, it's a company called Namib Minerals. It's a low float. It's based out of the Cayman Islands. right? Another warning sign there. It's a gold mining company, which you know they're not doing in the Cayman Islands. So clearly, it's got high risk shell company written all over it. So yeah, I'll leave it for others that want to play in this rarefied air. But yeah, that's not a place for me.
Yeah, yeah, we'll leave this alone. Heading down to the next one, friends, is going to be CYN. Ain't this a circle? Oh, no, this is Sinjin. Sinjin?
Sinjin, there you go. Yeah.
Sinjin. There it is. I got it. So Sinjin doing some stuff today. We are up here 15%, 6.2 million shares traded. I mean, this thing has been all over the place. I mean, it's fun to watch, fun to see the action, the volume. But as far as trading, I am going to stay as far away from as possible. Look at the daily on this thing. I mean, just we went as high as 42, looks like. Slammed back down, gapped up against 22, slammed to 16, and today we're just kind of doing whatever we're doing. I don't even know, but again, I'm not as you can tell, I am not interested in this at all. So I will leave this alone, Peter.
It's amazing that this has been on our radar for as many days as it has. I mean, this is a low float, under 2 million shares in the float. It's a company with a market cap of under $25 million. The big news was them securing funding, at $32 million of funding, which don't get me wrong, 32 million is some good money, but it's not like the type of money we normally look at, right? Like if we were talking about some of the big stocks, I mean, I don't know, $32 million of funding, for example, if, let's say, an Apple or a Microsoft or an Nvidia or even an AMD or a Tesla, like it's they would be like, do not even bother me with this, right? Like it would be like five executive layers down from the CEO for them to be interested, not corporate level news. So, in any event, you just keep in mind the size of what we're dealing with. And as you can see, based on the daily chart, right, the volatility that comes with that. Fairly quiet the last 2 days. Today, we're seeing a little more volatility back in this with like 6 million shares traded. So I'm not saying it's not active. I'm just saying super high risk. Remember how many times this halted before? Yeah, it's sort of Nam and Sinjin. You can put them in the same bucket for me, and that's a bucket that I will like leave out the back door. Not for me.
Yeah, yeah, don't like it here, friends. We'll find something. I mean, right now it looks like it's a bunch of low flow stocks leading the gappers. Let's try the first three, all low flow tickers. We'll look at BMNR, which was very active yesterday, if you guys remember. Again, just a lot of low flow stuff in the way here. So BMNR today, what do we have here? So today we had again, exciting day yesterday, all the way up to 75. This thing, just a couple of days, sitting at $5, right? So it's been moving quite well here as far as gapping up. 11.4 gap up this morning, 1.4 million shares traded. You can't short it, unfortunately. Now with not with interactive brokers, and also sitting on the American Stock Exchange, which I personally don't like actual companies sitting on that exchange, right? ETF's a whole different story. I think the SPY sits on that, right? The SPY.
Yeah, because
Yes,
there's
it does.
ETF.
Yep.
A lot of the ETFs will
Yeah,
just
like
sit there.
how about TS? No, TS. Oh, not that one. But a lot of the ETFs sit on the American Stock Exchange. This one is sitting on there as well. Again, I'm not interested.
Yeah, I agree. We talked about this yesterday. If you remember, they announced, stuff that the market likes these days, that they are pursuing a Ethereum treasury strategy, which essentially means that they are going to stockpile Ethereum on the expectation that it's going to be an appreciable asset for them. So, again, I find it a fascinating strategy how many companies are deciding to go this route. Whether it's Ethereum or Bitcoin. Bitcoin, of course, was the first, and then you got Ethereum, and then some of the stable coins and others that people decided that, hey, we're going to hook our corporate profits and future to this star here. So, and off they go. But look, it might create some tradable opportunity. I would be cautious depending how you want to invest in this. Will it be, active enough today to create opportunity? I don't know. We got 1.4 million shares traded so far. It sort of looks okay, but a little spotty looking at a 1 minute chart. Buyer beware, sort of, a little bit better than the last two we looked at, but still not great.
Yeah, absolutely. Michael remembers that today is membership day. Yes, it is membership day over on YouTube. So make sure you hit that thumbs up, subscribe. 3 things you have to do. And again, I'm always surprised how many people are not in the drawing, right? You see Andrew bring up his little thingy, whatever, and there'll be 1,000 people watching, and only 840 people have actually done the three things: subscribed, liked the video, and also, or the stream, obviously, and also commented on the chat. So that gets you a free membership. So make sure you do that so you are in the drawing, friends. Do not forget to make that happen. All right, back to our gappers list, brought to you by tradingterminal.com. Again, tons of stuff there besides the scanners for all kinds of other things like I don't know, I'll tell you, the replay simulator, the actual live simulator, news, and more stuff you can look at in regards to trading. So take a look at it. Really, really cool stuff. All right, BMR, and again, low flows all the way through here. Let's look at one that's actually more than a 2 million shares flow, which is V. R and T. So this is actually a little bit higher, but it doesn't look any better, Peter. I mean, this is up 8.1. The pre-market action is really all over the place. The daily as well. Again, not fun here. Not something I'll be watching, man. Wow, no, nothing yet, man. No cigar so far, man. Everything's looking pretty crappy up to this point.
Yeah, and if you look at sort of yesterday, you can sort of see what happened. Yesterday, there was some news that came out that a firm called Thoma Bravo is in talks to acquire this Variant Systems. No news on the terms of the deal, no confirmation nor denial of the activity, which means if there's no denial, that means it's probably real. Interesting, when the news came out, this thing just had like a single candle of movement. Really, that was sort of like the big price action yesterday. Again, if you look at a 5-minute chart on yesterday, you can sort of see, you can guess without too much work as to exactly when this announcement came out. And it popped and dropped, so not too hard to see what happened there. Yeah, again, today I think it'll be in play only if there's either confirmation or denial of that rumor. So we'd have to get terms of the deal, and it depends. If they come out and say, for example, what's the price at now? We're sitting at about $20. Let's say for argument's sake they come out and say that that they're looking at an acquisition price of $25. Well, then you might take advantage. This thing moves up to about $24.50, right? If they come out and say they're looking to acquire it for only $18, well, then this thing is likely to drop. So, you got to be careful about that. It's going to be news driven completely. So in the short term, I wouldn't be looking to trade it, but I'd be watching to see if and when news comes out, and then what that news, what it is. So.
All right, there we go. Yeah, won't be watching. It doesn't fit my criteria, friends. So we'll move on to the next one. Actually, that covers our gap up. So a few on here fell off because it probably went under 2%, but nothing else as far as gapping up this morning. Peter, gapping up. Do you like anything today that might not be on the list?
Actually, I'm surprised at how little is gapping up. Despite the markets being fairly flat, most of the stuff I'm looking at is gapping down. I noticed Apple is green this morning. Apple's had a couple of interesting trade opportunities, but you've had to be very selective. Like the afternoon yesterday, not good in Apple. Really didn't give you some good trading. The morning, though, did give some good movement. I mean, for Apple, we have to keep in mind some relative scale here. But it didn't move bad yesterday early on, so might be worth keeping an eye on today. I see a little bit of mixed picture on our favorite quantum stocks. Pick whichever one you want. QBTS and RGTI are gapping up, while QNTM, QUBT are gapping down. So they're sort of going in different directions depending which one you want, which tells me it's not a sector in play. The only other one that I noticed is gapping up from, if I look at my favorite Magnificent Seven, is Netflix. Not one we often look at because it is it's just a higher price, right? Higher price and harder to trade. And Carlos, I don't think we looked at this at all yesterday morning, but I was looking back earlier this morning at the chart for the day, and once again, the afternoon was pretty boring. But look at that price action movement off the open. If you take a peek at a 5-minute chart from yesterday, we could, at least I completely missed this. Look at that drop down.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is coming from all-time highs. We can't forget. So it started the day at all-time highs and then moved down, losing a couple days worth of growth. So it's still in a great position here, and could move. So might be worth keeping an eye on. It's always hard to tell with Netflix. It's probably the least active of sort of those high-flying tech stocks or the so-called Magnificent Seven. So, but I just noticed that move again after the fact yesterday that I missed, anyways.
Yeah, man, Netflix is getting it done here, friends. Just look at that. Look at that daily. That daily is just wild, 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 wild. So, all right, let's take a look at what else we have here, friends. Let's look at our gap down list this morning. Not a lot on here either. CNC, OSCR, Circle of Internet, and Hood. We know.
Count?
I'm sorry, what?
I just
What?
sorry, I should be talking in my head. I
Oh
just
yes,
think I
like when
always
I like when you talk in your head, man. This is good.
I
This is good.
yeah I always
Yeah.
think about Netflix as a Magnificent Seven stock, but is it technically? I don't think it is. I
It's
think it's
not.
outside of
What's
that.
the actual list? Because Tesla's like
I
a
think it's
fake
Apple,
Magnificent
Apple,
Seven.
Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla, I think.
There are like three companies I think ahead of Tesla. Tesla's like a fake Magnificent Seven. I think people just like it.
Yeah.
I know John does not want to hear that, but it's true. Tesla's like
Okay.
there's like three other companies that are always above Tesla.
Tesla. Yeah.
Um, but we just like the drama. We love
Yeah.
the drama on Tesla. So
Yeah,
it's
I
there.
think I think people are right. As Bill is saying, I'm thinking of like the old Fang stocks. Remember the Fang stocks?
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah. I
so
think that fell off. Obviously, well, Facebook is no longer Facebook, so you lost the F,
yeah,
and there was some other name changes that I think just took the Fang away. Yeah, Microsoft,
took the
Amazon,
Fang.
Meta, Apple, Tesla, Google, and
Fang.
Nvidia. And Fang, Tesla was not even in there when it came to Fang, right? There's no T there. So, yeah, there you go. Magnificent Seven.
Yeah.
All right, friends. Let's dive into this gap down list. CNC. I don't think I've seen this. Let's take a look here. We are down 31%. And again, daily for the most part, big drop on the daily here. I've never seen this stock before, and probably because the daily doesn't get a whole lot of volume. Today, a little bit of pre-market action, 3.5 million shares traded, but this is a big drop, Peter. Is there any news behind it? There should be some news. I mean, you don't just gap down 31% unless you're a low flow stock, which this one is not.
Yeah,
491 shares float.
yeah. Yesterday afternoon, Centene, I assume that's how you pronounce the company's name, Centene Corp, which is a healthcare company. They pulled their guidance. So sort of out of cycle here, but they basically just, sort of as a standalone statement said they're just withdrawing their financial guidance, expecting that they're going to fall short of expectations. So that's a little bit of an unusual move, but it's to do it mid-cycle is probably smart because they can take sort of a lower hit as people are not paying attention. I don't know if it's going to be a continuation play. I mean, yeah, look at that daily. Look, this is like huge drop down 30% from the close. And after having it was sort of running on a decent day yesterday and then pulled the rug out and then yeah, overnight it just plummeted. So I don't know. I mean, could be in play. I mean, look, of all the stuff we've talked about off the gapper list, Carlos, this is probably the one I like the most, but I still don't like it a lot because, as I mentioned, NYSE's stock, so it's going to trade a little bit different. And it's possible. I don't know. We'll have to see. It's got 3.5 million shares traded this morning, so I might watch this one at the open just to see what it does. That news is enough that it gets me interested.
Yeah. All right, we'll put it on here. We'll put it on a secondary and see where this goes. I'm just gonna update my list. Wow, this is the first ticker that makes our primary or I mean our secondary list. So CNC so far this morning. All right, next on here is going to be OSCR. OSCR. This is Oscar Health. We've seen this before. We are diving this morning down 13%, 4 million shares traded, as you can see here. So again, so not looking good on the daily. Pre-market actions got plenty of action today. We do have shares for short. Looks like the party's over from the recent gap up that we had just middle of June. Popped up to 22, hung out here for a little bit, and now losing a lot of ground. So looks like the fun might be over here, Peter.
Yeah, and I mean, clearly there's a theme here in healthcare because this is another healthcare related stock that it looks like these healthcare plan service providers are now thinking that I can only assume because I haven't seen the news related to this that it's related to the Senate bill that's going through that clearly is well, that apparently is not going to be benefiting these healthcare providers. It seems like the timing matches up. But yeah, either that or this is just a sympathy play because of CNC.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know how well this is going to trade, but you know what? Let's put it on here. Let's put it on here as well. Secondary OSCR. I do like the daily. I mean, this is a nice drop here. We do have shares for sure, right? Just for sure, 2.5 million. It is not a low float. It's not a low float. You know what? This is in play. Let's see what happens. We need good volume at the market open. I know we have 4.1 now, but we have to see. We never really looked at the stock and the way it trades, and I didn't really pay too much attention when it did this pop a few weeks ago. So let's see what it does today. If we're going to have a flush, it's going to be nice and clean for us to take a look at. CRCL is next. The circle of internet here. We are down 2.2 this morning, as you see here in the pre-market, 830,000 shares trade. I mean, this stock is just wild. It's fun to watch. As far as trading, I am not too sure about that. But again, it's on deck. It's on our list every single morning, gapping up or down today. So, Peter, have you looked at this thing closely as far as intraday action? What was the action like?
We have, and the spread is usually high. We're looking at 30 to 50 cents, which is pretty big for a $200 stock, especially when you can trade so many others that don't have such a big spread. That being said, like Apple, for example, has a much lower spread. We're talking 3 cents, right, versus 30 to 50. However, Apple, you're going to be super happy with a $1, $2, or $3 move. CRCL, you'd be looking for a $10 or $20 move. So, keep that in perspective. Look, this thing has been moving, even on the days, those last 2 days with the tiny little candles on the daily. Don't let that fool you. Its price range that it's been moving top to bottom is still about $20, right? So, like this thing has definitely price action. It's still a little wild. Well, it is a young stock and it trades like a younger stock, right? It doesn't have that maturity that you would expect, like if you're trading in Nvidia or even Tesla, right? That has so much more institutional buying that sort of stabilizes the price action a little bit. So, there's always an upside and a downside to these. The upside is you can get big movement. The downside is that you got a big spread and it can do unexpected things a little more readily. So, take that for what it's worth. Can it be worth watching? Absolutely. You just have to know what you're doing and know how to trade it. From my point of view, it doesn't meet my criteria. So as good as it is, under the right conditions, it's not for me
Yeah, yeah,
yet. I should say yet,
yeah.
because
Could change,
like I said,
right?
a young stock, these things can stabilize. That being said, I'm watching it because I'm waiting for the day and the moment when it does sort of settle in and hopefully become a good trading stock. Because I like the way it's going from the day it opened. It's got good volume. It's got consistency, right, Carlos? I mean, we've been talking about
Yeah,
this every day for 3 weeks now, so it's in play. So
yeah, yeah.
one
I,
of these days.
I I agree. I agree. Could change. Um, all right. Next and last on the list is going to be IREN. Sneak this way in here. So IREN made its way to the list here. We are down 2.3% now this morning. You see some volume coming in on this one. 800,000 shares traded. It looks like it was halted. No, actually, I don't know if that was a halt. It could just been not trading anything here in the 5 minute, which is kind of weird to go 45 minutes, almost an hour without trading anything. And I don't see a halt for news or anything like that. So very strange. Usually don't see that, but no volume, no activity. Oh, never mind. I take that back. You guys saw that? I'm not going crazy, right? It's not just me. You guys saw what just happened, right? YouTube, it was blank, and then the lines popped up. Somebody better confirm before I go check my head. But did you guys see that? I think you did. All right. I hope you did. Or else something happening with me here. But there it is. There's some action now. It just appeared. So it looks like the asset was just loading. Down 2.8 this morning. 811,000 shares traded. Banner says we saw it. I'm not going crazy. Good. Pre-market looks good on this. Looks very active. Daily looks okay. Peter, I mean...
Again, we talked about this one yesterday. I find this company fascinating. It's an Australian data center provider that has decided to do all sorts of things, right? They've jumped on the Bitcoin bandwagon as a miner. Then they decided to accumulate, and then they decided to be an AI company. They even said that they could get into quantum. Again, I'm not getting those all in order. They're just, I feel like they're chasing everything, but they've been using the buzzwords well, and it certainly helped their sort of awareness. Otherwise, I mean, who would even know about it? And if you look at their stock appreciation, I mean, they are at the highs. So, does their actual underlying business warrant it? I don't know. You guys got mad at me yesterday for using the F word. So, look, it
Ooh.
it seems to be in play. Yesterday morning off the open, it had a good move. I'm still skeptical. Like I don't like chasing these things. I'd rather stick with the stuff that pays me every single day. So
Yeah.
Iran's not on that list.
Yep. 100%. Yeah, can I agree anymore with you there. All right, that covers our gap up and down. I know some other ones are gapping down, like Nvidia and AMD. You guys mentioned in chat. We'll look at those. They're just not hitting that 2% mark. But again, it's an AMD and Nvidia, so we'll definitely have them on deck. Peter, what do you like this morning that might not be on this list?
Well, I was going to lead with Tesla, but Tesla's now gone green. So it's now gapping up, but not, gapping up, gapping down. It's basically break even. So it's right there. Tesla, was what yesterday. Well, we had a lot of talk about Tesla as I'd gone short and made some money off of it. And even though we got stopped out, Carlos, I know you were in that as well. Did a little
Yep.
bit better than I did in managing it, and we both, got out. Me unintentionally, you purposefully, at the right
Yep.
time before this thing took off.
Yeah.
And despite the general expectation of it dropping, it had this big run up. Then lost most of it again. Like that opening hour was very active on Tesla, and after that it settled down a little bit and got to more regular price action. But yeah, the drop, the pop, the drop again, all to get back to
Yeah.
sort of where we started pre-market. Oh,
It definitely was a beautiful trade. Absolutely. We'll be having it on
yeah.
my list as well, Tesla this morning. What else?
So, other than that, semiconductors always on my list. Nvidia, AMD, of course. Had some interesting moves yesterday. I feel sort of sheepish that somehow I did not catch the drop on them. Both of them did good sort of VWAP rejections after the open and dropped nicely. So definitely in play. I think I know when I was watching Paris and Gary, as they were talking through their trades, there's some good trades in there. I think Paris primarily. I think he was on Nvidia and took advantage of that. So there was opportunity. So why not watch the ones that can give you some regular regular fun or regular opportunity anyway. So Tesla, Nvidia, AMD, absolutely solidly on the list. Some of the other Magnificent Seven ones that we were talking about yesterday, not as much fun from my opinion. The Microsoft, Meta, Google, Amazon, all sort of, Google and Microsoft were probably the better of the two. Was that no Meta and Microsoft the better of the two? But even so, a little harder to trade in my opinion. So, watch what you will. I'm going to stick with my few and see where we go today. It's fairly quiet from news, right? So,
Yep.
that being said, I don't know why, but I am. This is just my bias. I'm expecting some notices, some press release information from the White House. I just think in advance of July the 4th, they're going to want to get some news out there, go into this long weekend holiday with some good news. Maybe not. Maybe if there is no good news to be had, that they'll be quiet on it. But I've got a feeling that between now and the market close, which by the way, don't forget, early tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, 1 p.m., we're done trading for this entire week. So you got all day today, regular day, and then half a day tomorrow as we finish at 1 o'clock. Anyways, I'm just thinking that there's going to be some press release that we might want to just be ready for should it happen. But I could be totally wrong. I don't know. Just a guess on my part.
Yep. Yep. Um, I'm adding. I agree with you. Let's see what happens. We'll be ready for it. Tesla, Nvidia on the list so far. Did you mention? I know you mentioned semis, AMD as well is going to go on the list. I mean, it's down here 1.1, kind of recovering a little bit from the lows of the pre-market. It's got good volume, 900,000 shares traded. So we'll be adding that to the list as well. So Tesla, Nvidia, and AMD. And this is usually what happens, Peter, when, like you said, it's not a whole lot going on. It's not a lot of news. we just go right to our usual suspects, right? And,
Yeah.
and that's what's happening right now.
And like you guys have heard me say many times, these are the types of days I actually like best, right? They fit my trading profile very well. So I don't really care the fact that nothing's gapping. I just need to be patient, and usually I get some opportunities. And if I don't, there's the next day or the day after or next week. But yeah, I'll be watching carefully.
Yeah, yep, sure will. All right, let's take a look here. Let's go over to the chat room. So our members tab. Let's see what you guys are watching. Want me to look at today. So let's take a look here in our chat. Then I'll go to YouTube in just a second here. So I see Javier, you are looking at Hood. Yeah, Hood was great yesterday. Hood was really good, right? In the last 2 days, we've been seeing Hood do some stuff. So look at the daily here. This was the breakout 2 days ago, trading days ago. This was yesterday, and this is today, right? So volume is there. 1.7 million shares traded. We're down 1.3. I don't see no reason why not to add this on the list. So I am going to be watching Hood. I did get a nice trade on it. Got out a little bit too early towards the pop, towards 98, but still worked out pretty nice on a great breakout and continuation. So let's watch it today again. Let's see what happens. I do like that one. Next on here, what else we have, friends? Tesla we have on deck already. AVGO. You know what? This is one of those company.
Oh,
What
Tesla
happened?
just got a pop.
Did they get their numbers out already?
Just got a
US
$10 pop.
Yeah, that's the U.S. delivery numbers. I think that's what it is because that's coming out today. All right. Let's get those
Yeah.
numbers, friends, when you have them.
US deliveries
Q2
due.
number.
Looks like,
Yeah.
and it looks like their Q2 deliveries were, well, closer to the estimates than people had anticipated. It depends what you look
Nice.
at. Their estimates were roughly 389,000 cars. But one analyst average point was 389,407 cars. They actually delivered 384,122. So while that's 5,000 cars short, again, if you believe these numbers, look at the stock jump, right? Like by
Yeah.
rights, I suppose they should be dropping because they actually missed their delivery numbers. But, there's so many fans in Tesla. You got to remember, if they even get close, people are like, yeah, it was closer than we thought. They didn't suck as much. Whereas think of any other company. If you miss your numbers these days by a penny or even just meet your numbers, not good enough, right? We expect you to beat them. So, I love Tesla that way, right? This thing is just, it is irrepressible at times, and this looks like one of those times. So look, we're in a range. It also, notice it's moving to fill the gap. Look at the daily on Tesla. You got to keep in mind these levels, which Carlos is going to do with us a little bit later. But there's a reason why it jumped up to this point here on this move. Look at that, right? Perfectly filling the gap that it set yesterday. So and remember, yesterday's gap down was because President Trump was threatening to cut a lot of his contracts that he has with the federal government after Elon, made some statements that President Trump didn't like about the tax bill. So, again, we're moving back and forth on different data points, but it's fascinating to just watch this thing go. So, on the list, you bet.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, and they're coming off too, like what was the 40% sales drop on Europe, right? And that was not expected, if you guys remember that. So to see them
Yep.
just not get a huge drop in sales here is a good sign for them. So wow, Tesla looking good right now, guys. 5.6 million shares traded, up 6%, almost 7 on the list for sure. All right, let's take a look. What else you guys like this morning? So Tesla, of course, on deck. So far, Tesla, NVIDIA, AMD, and Hood. And I like that list so far this morning. IonQ. You know what? IonQ and the Qs have not really been doing much, right? You got to watch them. They get their breakouts here and there, but for the most part, they haven't really been that explosive. So I'm not gonna be watching them today. But you could take a look at those if you like them. But I'm gonna stay away from them for today. But if you see something, Javier, let us know. Throw it out there. Okay, UNH, Steve. What is UNH up to? And then we'll look at POTR. Then we'll pick some off from YouTube. UNH this morning down 2.4, 394,000 shares traded. I mean, they had somewhat of a breakout yesterday. This is a very difficult stock to trade because they just don't get the volume, right? So even yesterday with their move here, I mean, yesterday was really good, actually. If you look at yesterday, this is normally not how they trade. But even this move here, like this is a 5-minute chart. If you're watching it, the volume is so low. For the way I trade, looking for breakouts, even though this looks good now on a dead chart, I wouldn't know where to enter as far as volatility, volume, and a possible break. All right, it's just it wouldn't play out well for me. So depending on your strategy, this can work out great for you, but for me, it's not a great ticker for the way I trade. So I'll be keeping that one off the list. But again, watch it. They have a great day yesterday. PLTR has been mentioned as well. Let's take a look at PLTR this morning. We are down slightly, not by much. This daily's looking pretty intense. Look at this daily. Sold off, gapped up, sold off, gapped up a little bit. Oh, actually, no, gapped down, sold off. So it's been just red. That's not a green candle in sight in here. So PLTR is having a really tough time. I guess what's happening with them? I mean, this is a big drop.
I don't know. I mean, this moves. I said I've added this to my permanent watch list because it moves so well. I've got 9 stocks on that list, I think. 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. So the Magnificent Seven plus Netflix and PLTR. I need a catchy name for that. What's something that like alliterates with 9? I need like the numerous 9 or the
Numerous 9.
The 9, the nasty 9. No, see, but they're good stocks. They're the ones I want. Actually, I should put 10 on there because I've got to add AMD that I always watch. If I really had a list, I guess I should put AMD on my list. So I have the new 9, the nifty 9. Hell, the nifty 9. There you go. And the splendid 10. See, this is why I like to crowdsource this. You guys are good. You're coming up with things I'm not thinking of. So, all right, the notorious 9. How about that? Yeah, okay, that one's good. The notorious 9. All right. Anyways, fine 9. Let's see. You got so many options. The divine 9. Oh my goodness, look at they're getting better and better. All right. Anyways,
here's ChatGPT's the 9 that could shine. The 9 that shine.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. That's pretty good. I like that.
This is what having a community is all about, man. You guys just build on each other, and it gets better and better. I love it. This is awesome. All right.
Good stuff. All right, friends. PLTR on the list for sure. I mean, I like my list already, guys. I have a lot. Tesla, Nvidia, AMD, Hood, and PLTR. Nothing on the secondary at this moment, but that is a great list. Let's look at it.
You do have CNC there on the second.
On this. Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, but you know what?
Forgot about that one.
I forgot about that one. I do have that CNC. That looks good. And it keeps dropping. New low. Yeah. Continues to drop.
I do like sort of CNC this morning. It's leading the way with all these healthcare stocks, leading them down as they pulled their guidance, which is signaling maybe some trouble in the healthcare sector more largely, which is probably why UNH was mentioned. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've never watched CNC before, but I think I am going to keep an eye on it today. I mean, top of the list for me have to be CNC and Tesla. With Tesla, look at Tesla, still going. Here.
Let's take a look, friends. We'll pick 2 because I do have to run today to trading with our Peak Capital team. So I do have to do that. So let's run through it so I could leave you guys with Peter. And then in chat, you guys are going to be trading live with Andrew and Brian. If you want to see Andrew and Brian trading live, we'll show you how to do that in a second. But there's going to be a link that can get you in there for $19. $19. You can get in there for a week and see all the live action with Brian and Andrew trading live in chat. All right, let's take a look here. What I see is names for 9. What else? No other tickers on here. Apple. Yes, we talked about Apple earlier. Peter was mentioning it. Let's take a look at Apple. I mean, I'm really happy with my list, but let's see. Oh, look at this. I like the pre-market right now, actually. As I said, that's a very unlike Apple pre-market activity this morning, Peter. Looks good.
It is. I mean, for Apple, this is, just a little bit above average volume, not too crazy, but you can't judge how Apple's going to move by the pre-market generally. In my experience, Apple, it doesn't care, right? Like you could have nothing happening pre-market and Apple could have a magnificent day, or you could get a great pre-market and then it just chops sideways. So
doing
Apple's hard
some
to judge.
shuffling. I'm doing some shuffling here. I'm gonna put AMD down because I got Nvidia already there. So AMD down to secondary. I'm gonna slide Apple right in there and see how that does. I really like the pre-market on it this morning. All right, friends, we'll stop here. Let's take you over to what's happening today on this beautiful Wednesday, middle of the week, middle of the year. As Peter nicely informed us. You can head
And
over to Bearwood. Yeah. Did I miss something else? What
no,
else?
no, keep. Well, I was going to add something to that. Apparently, it's also Thor's birthday, so we
See,
need to.
Thor's got us all confused. He was like born in Japan. His birthday was yesterday in Japan because it was already the second, and now today's the second here. So happy birthday again, Thor. But we did wish him a happy birthday yesterday on his
Did
Japan
we?
calendar. Yeah, we did on YouTube, not in the chat.
Oh,
But yeah, happy birthday, Thor, man. Good, good.
yeah. That. Yeah. Look, there's all sorts of time zone dilation things, and I think you just got to celebrate on the day because otherwise time gets too confusing. I mean, what if Thor gets in a ship and accelerates to the speed of light for like 6 months? Then his birthday's offset again. Is it by
Yeah.
his clock? By our clock?
No, I
Whose
think
clock?
Thor's just trying to celebrate as much as possible to either drink more
Yeah.
or get more gifts. I don't know which one, but I support him. That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, I'm all for getting more presents. I mean,
Yeah.
I have to admit, when I was living in Australia, we do the same thing where we celebrated the 40 hour, we called it the 40-hour birthday because, with them being 16 hours ahead at certain points of the year, we would say, well, then you get a 40-hour birthday, right? So,
Yeah.
but anyways.
Yep. There you go. Friends, head over to bearwithtraders.com. If you click on webinars, this is available to you even if you're not a member. You can see here what's coming up for the next 2 weeks. Today is Wednesday, so we'll show you what's happening, and then Peter will take you through it.
Yeah, Wisdom Wednesday, which means we've got our psychology webinar tonight with one of our favorite speakers. Dr. Kenneth Reed's going to be on tonight at 8 p.m. talking about how you can stay in winning trades longer. One of the key things over the long term to maximize the value of your trades is holding on until you hit some key levels and achieve some goals. Harder to do than you'd think because we all, of course, want to lock in those profits as soon as we can, but that can often cost you in the long run. The game is psychological more than anything, right? We all know the technical levels we want to hit, but holding it can be can be a weight, let me tell you. So he's going to talk about that, how you can manage that, and that is for all of our elite members in the webinar room. So hopefully you will join us for that session this evening. Midday, we do have Dr. Vanessa Charlin that's with us at noon. You can see listed there, we've got the Avi session. He is still on vacation, having celebrated his birthday. He's been away for a couple of weeks, well, for a week or so, but still off. But Vanessa will be on at noon once again in the webinar room, sorry, for our elite members. So those are two sessions that you can take advantage of. If you want to join us at Bearable Traders, we would love to have you. Just go to bearabletraders.com and you can get all the information from our website. And we have a deal for you right now. Our July 4th sale is on, giving you 50% off the Elite Annual. Here it comes. There it is. That Elite Annual sale. As you can see, you can use the code July 4th. It'll probably just pop up for you so you can get that rate. Lock it in now. It will not cost you anything on time against any existing membership. Whatever your membership is, you'll get that through to its end, and then your year will start counting from there onwards, no matter how long you've got left in your subscription. So if you want to lock in that price, you might as well. It's one of the best price of the year we typically offer. So there you go, July 4th sale on right now. If you just wanted to join and kick the tires, the intro offer is still a great deal. Carlos, I think for our friends on YouTube, we're still offering. Are we still offering the discounted rate
Yeah.
on the? Okay, so there you go. So that $39 deal, you can get it for just $19. It's a 1 week access. It's a great time to do it. You'll get a full week of trading, and you can, test it out now, take the long weekend, and then regroup, right, and come back and finish your week and see if this community is right for you. It is a great place to be. As you saw this morning, guys, I asked a question, I got like 20 excellent answers. So that happens all day with this great group of people. So why not trade with people who are thinking about the markets and looking at stuff? You got 1,000 pairs of eyeballs, always trained on the market for you. So it's a great place to be. Check it out at bearabletraders.com if you haven't already. And like the team just posted, there's your link to get that $19 deal if you wanted to take advantage of that. All right. There's what we got, Carlos. Why don't we set some levels? Then I'll let everybody know what our moderators are watching, and you'll go some live trading, which is gonna be a little different today because Andrew and Brian are just on for a limited time in the chat room because they both have to jump on planes. I know they're only here for maybe half an hour, and then Carlos, we're gonna have to figure out a coverage model, but we'll get there. So.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay, we'll figure something out here. All right, friends, let's do some levels quickly here. Here is Tesla. We'll start there again. On fire, numbers looking good. Tesla reacting in a very positive way here this morning. So let's hit that. Let's hit this level, the high of the pre-market at 322.60. So we're gonna slam one there towards the bottom on the daily. You got plenty highs and lows for the last two trading days. But look where the price is. Like Peter mentioned this, right? The price is sitting here around this 316 for a reason. Tons of levels on the daily. Even right now in this pullback, you're getting a level at 316. I'm going to slam one there as well. You got a lot of support right around this area. I see a couple of days just off a little bit, but that 316 looks pretty good. Definitely want to have that down. And then once you do that, you got a lot of levels here. I don't think you need to add anything else. Maybe this one here, this is a minor one at 310. You know, not a major level like the ones you're seeing up here where you see a lot of consolidation happening. So we'll just keep that one on there. Here's NVIDIA. We're going to remove some of the older levels. Highs and lows doing a good job towards the top. Here's the previous day close. Again, not a lot that you have to mark up there. And even your high of your pre-market is marked by the previous day close as well. 151.10 is the low of the pre-market. Below this, we do have 149.30. And I think you're set on NVIDIA. I don't think you need to go too crazy on it. Again, towards the top, looking really nice up there. Next is Apple. So Apple right now, high of the pre-market, looking nice at 210.92. Very active this morning. Your low is at 209. 209.01. So we're going to come here and mark that as well. Below that, guys, highs and lows for the last two trading days. To see anything above, you got to go back to April, May time frame. So if you look at that, this day looks ugly on Apple between this time frame, right? It was really weird. Look at how wicky it is. Very weird on Apple. Here it is, 213.89 is the level we have there, and just one more above in case we do move higher here, which again, highly doubted without any news. I mean, they're just struggling with their AI and everything else. They're so behind on this thing. 218.39 is the next level there. We don't need a new iPhone. We need a new AI operating system. That's what we need. That's what the people want. Apple, let's try to deliver. Here's Hood right now stuck between the highs and lows of the last two trading days. At the moment, don't need to mark any lows besides the highs and lows. The high looking at 93.37. We'll see how that goes. Traded very well yesterday, and the short was actually better than the long we took, right? So the short actually was really nice. Beautiful continuation from the highs yesterday. And then 90.11 towards the bottom. 90.10 is your low of your pre-market, and you're surrounded by many levels here. Do not need to add anything else. Our good buddy POTR with a very interesting daily here. High of the pre-market set at 132.44. We're going to set a level there. The low is set down at 129.16. We'll put another one there as well. And then towards the top, guys, highs and lows for the last two trading days. I mean, you're covered. There's nothing. I mean, how can you add another level in here? You got to explain that to me. I mean, there is a lot going on there. Don't make it more complicated than what it needs to be. Nice and simple, works very, very well. Here you have 127.51, 56. You can see how many touches we have on the daily. Tons of stuff happening there. So you definitely want to have a level there in case we do drop to that support. But yeah, very active daily on POTR. Really like what I'm seeing here. It's going to be on deck this morning. Peter, what is our team watching today?
All right, we got a lot of stuff coming up here that you might want to consider for your own list. We're going to start with Eamon at the top that really doesn't like anything, so he's just going to wait and watch for momentum plays. If you know Eamon, he's got a very specific trading strategy, and he maps things out well in advance. So the fact that he's not seeing anything just means that his strategy is not yielding any likely targets. So good for him for sticking to his rules and his strategy. Jared's going to be watching OSCR, AMD, Tesla, CRCL, and Coin. He says he's going to take a look at the travel stocks. Interesting for some swing trade ideas. Andrew, in his limited time here this morning, is going to be watching Tesla, AMD, NVIDIA, Apple, CYN, and OSCR. Brian is going to be watching Tesla, NVIDIA, CYN, and of course the market indices. I've got my usual list of Tesla, NVIDIA, PLTR, and AMD. Sorry, I'm also going to be watching CNC and CRCL. Phil's going to be watching PLTR, Tesla, and NVIDIA. I've got a number of IPOs and SPACs to let you know about if and when they open. And Megan, as always, just has a couple things on our list, watching closely Tesla and Oracle. So that's what we've got. It's a decent list, again, for a day where not a lot is moving. Tesla looks like it's taken over so far this morning as the biggest mover. And I see a number of our moderators are watching this OSCR, which I said, I still don't love it, but I know that the room will let me know if it becomes a going concern. So we'll see what happens with that. Whatever you choose, trade smart, everybody. Wait for your opportunity. Don't rush anything, and let's have this. Let's have a great middle day of the year. As I said, 183rd day of the year, which means that we got 182 days behind us and 182 days ahead of us. So we are exactly at the midpoint. Let's make it count. Make it a good one.
Yep, absolutely. All right, friends, I'm gonna hop off here. Peter, share your screen. We'll get you all set up to trade live, and I will see our YouTube friends later today in about an hour or so from the market open. And I'm gonna disconnect from chat. I see Andrew's ready to go.
Yeah, it is the humpiest of all hump days, as
yeah,
as Ryan is pointing out.
Yeah,
humps upon humps.
What is it?
I can sound wrong, but you guys know what I mean. All right. Now, Carlos, are you trading with us? Have you got you've got live trading with P Capital?
Yeah,
What's going on?
I got live trading with P Capital. Mike told me last night. I had no idea. I thought it was only once last week, but I do have live trading with P Capital.
Okay.
So yeah, so set up your screen. I'll go over there for an hour, and I'll come back here.
Right.
Wow, Andrew's mic blew my ears off, man.
Yeah, he's got some weird
smokes.
static problems going on over there.
Bad. That hurt. That's how bad that was. So yeah, we gotta figure out what's going on with his cables there. I had the headphones way too loud. All right.
Now, you know what's exciting here? Andrew and Brian are going to be leaving our chat room early today because they're both flying to New York. Because Andrew is ringing the closing bell on the NASDAQ on when? On Thursday, I guess? Tomorrow?
Oh, it'll have to be Thursday because they're closed Friday. Unless they're pulling a
Yeah, 'cause
prank
they're
on him.
closed Friday,
Unless
which
they're
means-
pulling a prank on him to come Friday and it's like there's nobody there. He's going to ring the bell to nobody. That's not going to be fun.
Which means it's early, so he's going to be ringing that bell like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I hope he knows that. If he shows up at 4, he's going to be.
No, I'm sure he has that schedule down pat. Yeah.
Got it all locked and loaded, I trust.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
It's Andrew, you never know.
No, Andrew's very good with schedules now. Very, very good.
Okay.
All right, let me Peter, you have your screen up? Okay, I see your screen up. I'm gonna put it here. That's your screen, and I'm gonna let you go, buddy. We'll see you later.
Okay. Carlos is heading over to our friends at Peak Capital to trade with them. I've got to get a few things going. You can see I've got a pretty busy screen here. I'm gonna have to modify this for you guys. I hate doing this because it covers up the screens that I like to look at, but let me do this so that we can see what's going on. In fact, I'm going to do something different here. I don't know if that's going to screw it up with Carlos. He's gone now. All right. I got to change my stuff around. You know what? I got to get a different setup for when I do this sharing. I'll do that another day. This morning, so guys, what's prime on my list? Well, I'm going to be watching Tesla. I'm going to be watching Nvidia for sure. I'm going to be watching this CNC. If we get a pullback to VWAP, and you know what, I'm going to have to tie these together here so you guys know what's going on. But if I look at CNC, look if we zoom out here on this chart, we can get a move up by about $1. Maybe $1.60 would be perfect. Get all the way up to this the VWAP line. That would give me a good place for a potential short, and then I can take it. The news is not good with them calling off their guidance. I think the market's going to be generally pretty concerned about their prospects with that. So, and look at the range we've got here. This 8 a.m. candle, which we haven't talked about a lot recently, but it's what we call the tinfoil line. It really gives me an area. Again, this is a good area for range, right? Pullback to at the 39.60. So there's my 5-minute alarm on the market. So see what we got over there. Anyways, yeah, so that would give me a good place. Again, anywhere between 39.60 and 39.80 at the current price level. We'll see in the next 5 minutes. The VWAP might actually move lower down to this 39.60, which give me two two different support confirmations if we pop up to that. Then I could see if I get a short on it, but I don't know. In the short term, uh, we've got Tesla that's still moving. So Andrew and Brian are making fun of me. Andrew and Brian are making fun of me because they think I can't hear them, but I am always listening, always listening. So I just joined the chat room and said that so they could hear me. All right. All right, guys. Hopefully, you've got some good stuff that you're watching. Anything that you guys are watching that we are not keeping an eye on? I haven't seen PLTR here. Yeah, moving higher. Just went green on this morning here. You can see PLTR just jumped up above the VWAP line. Hopefully, by the way, my charts don't confuse you with too many settings. Let me load a simpler chart here. There you go. Much little simpler chart, fewer lines on it, give you an idea of what we're looking at. So the dotted line here, the dashed line, maybe I should say, is the previous day close. The blue line is the VWAP, and then I've got a couple moving averages. The 9, which is the gray, the 20, which is the green, and the 50, which is the red. And that's pretty much all you got in the chart. So the purple, you can see the small dashed line and the big dashed line, the purple top and bottom. Those are just the highs and lows of today. So they're dynamic and they'll move as we set a new high or low. So, so there you go. So now you know we're looking at here. PLTR, like you said, just went green. Tesla's losing some of what it gained there after that those numbers. I think my feel is that Tesla's a short. I think that the fans pushed this thing up a little higher than it should be because, again, they didn't actually hit their delivery numbers, right? They were slightly below the number, but people got excited that it was closer than they had feared. I think Tesla might actually sell off, but that's a bias, right? And I really don't have a lot to back that up. So we're gonna have to see what the price action tells us at the open, which means by the time Tesla starts to move, if it moves aggressively lower off the open, I might just miss that trade, right? So, because you know what, I could be wrong, and maybe this thing is going to shoot higher. Everybody thinks that this is actually a great result, and the big money is going to support behind this. I mean, you just have to go to a daily on Tesla to understand. Like, look at how much range we've got, right? Like, realistically, we can go from probably about 285 to 350 here, right? I think that there's like just a big range in here. So there's just a lot of, a lot of room for Tesla to move up or down. So be careful about what you think. Let the price action dictate. Because again, just because I think it's overdone, this jump was overblown, doesn't mean the deep-pocketed money is going to agree with me. So, all right. CNC continuing to drop here, which I don't want it to drop too far before the open because the farther it pulls away from my target entry, which is now $2, this have to be a $2 move to get up to where I want it. Oh, and it's going lower. I may miss the entry opportunity on CNC, so I might have to abandon that trade if it just keeps dropping too hard, too fast. All right, there's my 1 minute alarm. Carlos did leave us, Ben. He unfortunately has to, well, not unfortunately, but he's trading with our friends over at P Capital Trading this morning. So he'll be back a little bit later, but he's doing P Capital stuff in the morning. So you got me for a little bit. Halted? Well, CNC, so that's a good question. At what point would CNC be halted? Well, here's the challenge with the halt on CNC. So let's go over here and let me show you. Let's bring up this for CNC. So you got to go to the limit up, limit down. Based on the current price action, it's got a long way to go. I don't even see a limit up, limit down listed here. So it hasn't moved aggressively enough to well, actually. I think those only got set after the open, which we now have. So we're gonna have to wait for a minute after the open before maybe we see a limit up down. All right, let's watch and see what we got. Are we getting any pullback opportunity? We're getting a little bit of a pop on CNC here, but not much. I don't have Tesla. I want to see what's happening here in Tesla. Tesla is dropping off the open. I don't, yeah. I didn't get enough of a pop on CNC for me to get confidence that we could then like have a drop, right? What I want to see is a lot of people abandoning positions, which would usually get the pop up, right? Big on volume. Got to keep in mind that this thing is on short sale restriction, is it? No, no, it's fully shortable again. All right, so yeah, hard trade here. Tesla is hanging out here. So I'm keeping an eye on that CNC. I just don't want to get caught in a squeeze. I'm not familiar with the stock and how it moves. So unless I need to see some big orders on the level two as well. So maybe that's something I should be showing you guys. Let's see if we can do this without confusing everything. Let's bring this over here and put CNC right there. So let's tie these together. So let's just make sure that that worked. Tesla, CNC. All right, good. So it's all tied together. So now we'll see what happens on CNC. Uh, I'm getting a little late in this for my opening range Rising Devil type trade. I might be I might not have an opportunity. PLTR. Wow, PLTR had a good pop up here. You guys, PLTR, you can see moving higher here this morning. Oops. CNC not doing much. Yeah, I don't love what I'm seeing here on CNC. It's hanging out here too long. It also looks like it might want to move higher. So I might get a little bit of a later trade if we see weakness, if it comes up to a support level. Again, this VWAP I'm going to watch, this average price. But it looks like I did not get an open trade. I do think Tesla is looking weak here. It's a risk position on Tesla because Tesla, as we know, can pop higher at a moment's notice. Uh, I just it's tough to tell where Tesla wants to go, but I do think weakness is the line. I'm going to go short on Tesla a little bit, see if we can get a move lower. Uh, that would be a good trade. You can see that I'm in here on Tesla. I want to get a move lower if we can, but I'm worried this thing is going to pop higher on me. We'll see what we can get. I need like a good dollar move. I might add if it gets to VWAP. Um, I've taken a smaller size than normal here, but hoping that, again, my point of view is correct. The Tesla's going to drop here. I'd like to get down to this low of day 308 area. That would be good for an initial move if we can get the drop. But again, it's holding out here a little longer than I would like, obviously. It's always great when you get into a trade and it moves in your favor immediately. So here's the drop. I'm going to take a quick partial right here just because I'm really uncertain about this trade. And in fact, I'm going to move my stop down a couple of cents. If it stops me out, then so be it. So there you go. I just actually got stopped out as Tesla came back. So I wanted to drop and it needs to happen immediately. Because I'm not a very active open trader, I don't take a lot of risk on these because I don't want to ruin my day for what my big trades are, which really happen later in the day. So, and I didn't have a great entry. Like I said, if it had come back up to VWAP, it would give me more confidence to add to it, and then I can hold for a bigger drop, which, it is now doing, but that's okay. I was partly trading for you guys as well, so probably should have stayed in this maybe, but oh well. Oh well. Tesla. Oh well, my premise was correct, right? It was right. It did go here to the low of day. And again, that level I was looking for, that 308, it did come to. So, you know what? Shame on me. Maybe I should have shown more patience, but hey, I got to trade the way I trade. So let me see. I gotta move into my camera. Where am I? Oh, it's moving out of the camera. Well, on the good news side, Tesla didn't go all that far. And CNC that I was watching, once again, also sort of did sort of what I was expecting. It did get a drop. It didn't really give me a strong enough signal to take the move. So I'm sort of happy I didn't take it, right? It would have been a green trade had I taken it. But so far, wouldn't have yielded huge dividends. So would it have been worth the risk is the question, right? The risk to reward would have been a little sketchy on this. Sort of like the risk to reward on Tesla was sketchy, right? Like, well, you could say, Peter, you got out of this too early. I mean, look at my risk at this point was up to 312, and it could have easily popped there. So once it started to move in my favor, and then, it could so easily pop back up to those levels that, again, that's just the way I assess risk. A lot of others would not look at it the same way. That's okay. You do you. But I've been doing this for long enough that I've sort of developed a strategy that while it might not optimize my profit, what it does is actually minimize the emotional stress that I put on myself and that I take in these trades. And I've learned that's important to me because when I put myself under too much emotional trauma, if I can use that word, it's light trauma, but it's one of those where, like it really does stress me. It affects my judgment for later in the day. And because I trade all day, I need to protect my emotional capital, right? Because you do spend that over the course of the day. The more stress you put yourself under, right, the more tired you'll feel and the worse decisions you'll make later on. And I know I need that capital later on because most of my trades happen sort of midday, a couple of hours from now. And I want to still be sharp a couple of hours from now when I'm facing off to the market. So, that's why I'm a cautious trader off the open. And I'm telling you all this just to give you an idea of, there's reasons why we do things. It's taken me a long time to assess and understand the reasons why I do things. And you might look at it and say, it doesn't make any sense to you, and that's okay, right? I don't expect it to. But knowing yourself is a very important weapon, a very important tool that you can have to better manage your trading over the long term. And it's something that I've spent years developing that ability to understand myself. So like here on CNC, like I said, right, would have worked. Could have been a green trade had I entered. I would have entered somewhere around here, around 37.30. My stop would have been probably around 37.90, so a 60-cent risk. So when I look at this assessment, I'm like, so if I took a 60-cent risk, I'd want $1.20, right, on earnings, two times whatever that risk is. Which means this thing would have to have gotten down to 36.10 for me really to get into a solid profit space, and it has not got there. The best it did was 36.50, which would have been only about half that, a little over half that. So I probably would have taken a partial down here because it tested and then retested. But I wouldn't have got much on it. And look, right now it would have come back and probably stopped me out. So I'm pretty happy with my decision making for not having entered this trade. While I could have made a couple of dollars, the risk to reward was not lucrative or sufficient enough for me really to have taken this with a lot of confidence and I've entered with at the expectation of a big win. So sort of happy that I stayed at a CNC. Tesla, looking lot the same way, right? Again, that risk to reward assessment, this is the type of thing that actually rebuilds my social capital, right? And makes me feel better in the morning rather than if I've been sitting in these trades, right? It might have actually drained me and made me less able to pay attention later on. All right, Nvidia. I see you guys are watching some stuff that is moving pretty heavily. Look, Nvidia moving higher today. That is a big gainer here as it's popping up. Let me bring this in so you guys can see it better. There we go. All right, and you guys are also watching PLTR, and PLTR a little tougher trade. Look at this. Look at the pop and then drop back here to the open range and then pop back up again. Tough trade, especially being that it moved through that VWAP, that average price. That would have been a tough trade for me. I like Nvidia the way it looks better. If anybody got into Nvidia on a long, I did say pre-market, right? It was looking pretty good. Just didn't give a pullback. I like to see those pullbacks, that give me some more confidence on the entry. But here's a random fact from Jared. So here, guys, you know how I'm talking about this is the middle day of the year? We are at the 183rd day of the year. So that means right now we are just as far away from January 1st, 2020 as we are from January or December 31st, 2029, 2049. So as of tomorrow, we're actually going to be closer to 2050 than we'll be to 2000. Did I say that right? Anyways, as of tomorrow, we're going to be closer to the year 2050 than we'll be to the year 2000. Think about that. Does that make you feel old? Makes me feel a little old. 2050. That is a sci-fi date right there. Like, all right, you guys are watching stuff. AMD. You want to look at AMD for a short? Let's take a peek at it here. It could be a short. I mean, it definitely is looking weak at this level. The level two is not giving me any indication of direction. See, there's really nothing stacked at the level two. So I'm not clear. I mean, obviously it couldn't go higher. So we see that twice it hit this level. It's now below VWAP. Possible, but this is nowhere near enough signals for me to take a short on it. So while I'll give it like a 55% chance of being a short and a 45% chance of going long, that's not good enough odds, sorry, for me to take it short. So, all right, what's Tesla doing here? Andrew's trying to get along on Tesla, and look at how relatively flat it's been, right? I was sort of right, that the big money didn't like continue to push this thing higher, but interestingly, hasn't dropped it. So I don't know what this is going to do. Again, it's hard to bet against Andrew, but it doesn't look strong enough for a long. But you know what? I said that yesterday, and look how wrong I was there. So yeah, we'll see what happens here on Tesla. Hood had also a good move up here. Now it's just hanging around at VWAP. This might be a Carlos trade, hanging at VWAP, right? He might like it for a long back to high of day. I don't like the wicks at the high here, and the wicks here looks a little sketchy to me, but all right. Let's see where Tesla goes here. Could be interesting this morning. And I'm going to keep an eye on AMD since you guys called it out, or specifically Kushal asked about AMD for a short. Again, seemed more short than long, but like I said, I don't want to trust on that assessment because it's just not enough for me really to, get into a trade. And again, just in my opinion. All right. Wow, Andrew is actually trading Hood. He held on through a big move on this. Let's take a look here at the chat room. You guys can see that we've got Andrew. Look at his entries, and he added on this thing, and then just partialed a little bit because he said he was holding a little bigger of a size than he wanted to. But that's yikes! I'm amazed to me how he can do that. That's always amazing how he's able to do that. I just can't trade like that. Tesla, yeah. See, Tesla's looking weak here. I guess it bounced off of that VWAP. I can't, yeah, again, not enough of an indication for me to take it short, right? It could literally have gone either way. It still can. I mean, this range is pretty narrow, right? From 307 to let's go 311, right? A $4 range, which is pretty narrow on Tesla. Until it gets out of this range, I'm not willing to predict which way it's going to go. All right, what have you guys got that you're looking at? Hey, Blue Perfection. Well, welcome. If it's your first time, love to have you. Give us a thumbs up and a like if you could. Helps the growth of the channel. By the way, if everybody could do that, greatly appreciate it. That always helps us along. Normally it's Carlos and I, so you'd have two voices in here. Blue Perfection. It's just at the moment, Carlos is helping Peak Capital Trading. He's live trading with them. That's our boot camp that we've got going on, and we all sort of take turns live trading so they can get a feel for different trading styles. We get very in depth into our strategies, talk about what we're looking at, how we're watching the markets. It's a very different learning environment than what you get here. We're really just trying to talk about trades and the market. There, we're talking more about strategy setup and sort of long term. Portfolio building, strategy development stuff. Keeping an eye on quite a number of offerings here. We've got that CNC that I was talking to you guys about, which is not really doing much. It's back down towards the lows, but really not a big mover. So this is probably dead for the day. Probably won't be watching it much more. We were looking at PLTR a little bit earlier, which very choppy around the view up. Look at this, right? Again, as I was telling you, the opening range, you got to pay attention to that. That opening range here, which is this dotted pink line at the moment, you can see how it moved up, back to it, up, back to it, up again. Yeah, so it's just choppy. AMD, same thing, right? You guys are asking me about AMD for a short. AMD, like I said, it looked more short than long, but it is chopping in a range. Again, this opening value here, you got to watch how it's sort of bouncing off of that, stuck in a range, I would say, between about 35.50 and 36.50. So again, until it gets out of that range, impossible for me to predict what's going to happen. So I don't even try, right? I just say no trade for me. Tesla stuck in a range. Nvidia at the high of the Nvidia actually looks good for a sort of a short here, but I would have, it's a little late now. Risk to reward is not good from this point, but just a pull back to VWAP looks like that's where it's likely to go. But again, these are just momentum plays. I don't play those off the again, there's just not a good enough risk to reward, right, for me to take it. And it might be right. You could look at the Peter, look, you jumped in here, it might move back to VWAP and you can get some money off it. Maybe. But, my experience tells me if I start chasing these things, that's where, it might work sometimes, but not on a percentage basis often enough with a good risk to reward that makes it worth me putting my money and again, my mental capital into it. I'm very conservative with my actual capital, my dollar capital, but I've learned to be equally conservative with my mental capital. So, I don't mind talking a big game. I don't mind pointing out things that I see and not taking a lot of them. Because that actually not only preserves my mental capital, but I've learned I can actually build it, right, through confidence. Hey, I did see that move. I did understand what it's doing. Did I take it? No, because while I understood it and it made sense to me, it doesn't mean that it was necessarily a good risk to reward trade. So again, I hope all this stuff is making sense to you guys. Rahul, you're shorting CNC from 37.10. Okay, so you're willing to jump into this and take it for a move shorter. So good for you. Let's bring CNC back up on the list here. Where is it? There it is. Um, yeah, so if you got in here, you're sitting 80 cents to the good on the trade right now. I don't know what your risk level was if you got into 37.10. I trust that your stop was somewhere up here around 36.50. 3760 is what I'm trying to say. So that would have been a 50-cent risk, which means you need about $1 return, or at least based on the way I do my risk to reward, and you're getting close to that. So I see a couple of orders down here at 36. You can see I've got them highlighted, by the way. Any order that's over 5,000 shares is going to get put on this list here, just with a black box around it, so it's easier for me to identify. So yeah, I mean, this would be an area potentially to take a partial, or you could hold on if you're willing to wait. Risk, of course, it moving all the way back and stopping you out, but Good for you. Nice to see you guys trading well and taking some smart trades. Faraz is going to go for Tesla put on a 305 strike. Okay. Tesla again. Tesla's just in a range here. See what I mean about the risk, where I was saying take a partial? It did spike down to that $1 level almost, and then it just popped up. Anyways, good trade if you got it. Tesla, still no idea where this thing is going to go. And look at Nvidia. What did I tell you guys just a minute ago, right? See, this is the stuff that helps me build my mental capital. Looks like it could move down to the VWAP, and it did spike. I mean, close enough that, if I was in it, I would have taken a partial because this came in within 2 pennies of the whole dollar, the 154 level. So I definitely would have taken a partial. And, again, it could have been a profitable trade, even if I put my stop back up at break even, you know, trade, partial, stop out. But, you know, this this would have cost me mental capital to get into it. Whereas here, I've actually built some. Feeling good, right? Called the move. Feel like, yeah, okay, I'm seeing the market okay today. And this stuff is helpful to me because, again, when I take the trades later on, I know there's only a few of them. And I need to actually jump in feeling that I'm seeing the market fairly well because I may only get one or two shots a day at the trades I really want to take. So, I've got to have a lot of sort of confidence and sort of mental fortitude to say, all right, I'm taking this one. This may be my one shot today, and I'm not going to miss my shot. Name that play. My kids and I play this game. Every time you accidentally or purposely give a quote from a movie normally, we immediately say to each other, name that movie. So I gave you guys a hint, calling it a play. Anybody? There you go. Banner, bonus points for you. Hamilton it is. Well done. It was an easy one. It's easy if you know it. Probably the signature song, right, from the whole musical. Anyways, uh, see people talking about Apple. Wow, Apple had a good look at this good solid move on Apple. See? What was I saying, right? Apple's had some good moves, and you can't always judge Apple by what it does pre-market. Good move on Apple here. Carlo, sometimes Andrew does live trades here. He usually live trades in the chat room, right, with our paid members, and then jumps on here a little later and then shares his trades with you. If he's, watching something specifically, he might trade, but his primary trading time, is usually that first hour of the day. So he doesn't often trade live here. Today he will not be because I know he's got to leave pretty soon. He's got to head to the airport. He and Brian are heading to New York. They're going right to Wall Street and they're going to be ringing the closing bell on the New York Stock Exchange on tomorrow. That's pretty exciting. I just yelled at Andrew. I put in all caps in there. Didn't mean to do that. All right. We got Paris trading live in the chat room now. And guys, I don't have. Oh no, I was gonna say I don't have any trades this morning. I forgot. I do actually. I had that one little trade on Tesla, as you can see, but nothing going. And look at Tesla, right? Still trapped in this range. Like I told you guys, anywhere between 307 and 311. This is the range that I'm not going to play in, and a lot of stuff are chopping in ranges. This AMD that you guys asked about. Right? Look at this, chopping in a range, in the exact range I told you guys I was looking at. So, again, this is the stuff that I love that just gives me confidence on the morning. A mountain pass. Drew, it's a little early to call a mountain pass. But I do not see it. The setup is not mature enough for that on Hood. Not absolutely not, not yet. This is not a mountain pass setup. You're sort of getting a right of mountain pass. Basically picture two mountain peaks, roughly the same height, where the second one would be slightly lower than the first one. That's what you'd want to see, and then you can take it short. Um, or it works the inverse, by the way, right? Flip it upside down and literally flip it upside down like that way. And then, 'cause you want the low to be the lowest low of the day, and the second one not quite as low. And then you can take it long. I'm a short bias trader, so I typically look at things short. I love short trades more than long trades. That's just a personal bias. There's no justification for that from my trade strategy point of view. The strategy again works equally well, long and short. But this Apple trade is Apple did really well this morning. Very flat volume throughout this rise, though, eh? No volume spikes at all, just even volume. You notice that? So that makes it a little bit tougher of a trade. Yeah, you Sam. And caller, we were talking about this earlier about having a bias. I don't mind people with a bias. I mean, I come into the market with a bias, but again, to paraphrase, it's a strong bias loosely held, meaning that soon as I see information that contradicts my bias, I've got to be prepared to abandon that bias where it makes sense. Have a not ha, Don't only have a directional bias. Understand why you have that directional bias. So let's use this Tesla as an example. Just to go over what we were talking about. Right, early this morning, we got the delivery numbers for Tesla, and they were just slightly underneath the analyst's average forecast. The market popped up heavily. My view was that this was overdone and that the market popped up too much because they actually missed their numbers. This was not a good delivery number. They missed it, right? But, the fans are like, I can only, assume based on how far this popped that they're saying, hey, it's close enough. That's good, right? It's nowhere near as bad as we saw in Europe. Therefore, that's good news. My thought was when the big money came in, they were going to say, no, look, we're not agreeing with that. This is still not a great track for Tesla, and that it was going to go lower. So my general bias was to the downside, why I took the short, but I wanted to be an aggressive short. So my bias was loosely held, which means soon as I saw this thing not aggressively going short like I wanted, I got out of it. And while it's going shorter right now and it's working, I couldn't hold on to that strongly enough to say, you know what, I'm just going to stay with a short view. Even when it came up here and it retested the VWAP, potentially with these two spinning top dojis, right? Sort of you almost have like a spinning top and then a hammer, depending how you want to look at these. You could potentially have taken it short there, but I just know how Tesla loves to pop up. And it didn't do this on any volume, right? Not enough volume on these two candles for me really to say, okay, this maybe was an exhaustive move to make it move lower. So I wasn't jumping into the short again. And that's my perspective. You could have come in with a different premise, but that's how I had my bias, and I was willing to abandon it when I didn't see enough corroborative support to say my bias is truly on target and it's going to yield me, a lucrative trade with a high degree of probability. So, you know, that's my point of view. 300 would be an excellent area for Tesla to test that resistance. And we have to keep in mind the previous day close, $300.71. You can see it on my chart here. So up in the top corner. So $300.71 would be a great area for this thing to move to, being the previous day close. So let's watch for it. That, being said, I don't know. There's so much support for Tesla at weird times. This thing could chop or move higher before it gets there. So again, not enough indication for me to move there. Yeah, I think that it could. I think it's likely that it will, but I'm not gonna put money against that. Yeah. Yeah, you get, and we've noticed this is only day two with this whole XP thing, this experience rating, where it looks like you get experience daily and it resets. It must happen on every broadcast, every live broadcast, it resets. I can't imagine you hold this for the whole day. If I was to go over to some other live chat, presumably I'd start at zero again. I don't know. Because Carlos bought his way to the top of the list yesterday. I guess you get a bunch of you buy a super chat. I'm not recommending you do that, by the way. We don't know where the money goes, so I don't know. I assume you're just paying it to Google, but I really don't know. So don't do it. There's no need to. If I know it was going to charity or something, then I'd say you bet, all in, make it happen. But I don't know. Does it tell you in here if you go to a super chat? No. The amount will be public. Super chat conditions. Uh, Message will stand out amongst the crowd. The creator also earns a share of the purchase. So some of it would go to Bearable Traders, which we would donate to a charity, but some of it goes to probably most of it. Most of it would probably go to Google. They are really vague on who gets how much. They do have a YouTube giving FAQ, so you could actually donate any super chat money directly to a charity. So, it's good on them for that. I imagine, are they donating the full amount you give or just the amount that they would give to us? Hmm. Question that they're not answering. I do not know. All right. Anyways. Nicholas, that will up your spot. Nicholas gave $2. Where are you? Not sure if it's enough. What rank you're at now? Oh, somebody jumped to the top of the queue. You got a purple sidekick. You're number two in the chat there, Sab Writer. You're being very active this morning. Anyways, just having fun learning how this super chat works and their new ranking system. Yeah, we can see Nicholas, you're number one. You're number one. Sab is number two. You guys keep just posting things. Don't spam the chat, but the more you post, I guess the more points you get. All right, guys, I'm still just watching the market here, waiting to see what we're gonna do. What is Paris is now live in the chat room. He's trading Tesla. He also was short bias. He actually has a great short here. Look at this. I'm going to share his trade with you as he's explaining it. Look at this one. He is he got short right off the open. Partial, 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 partial. Added as it came back up here, right, to a support level. Partialed all the way down. So what does Paris say? If you guys know Paris from our chat room, he loves Tesla. I love you, Tesla. That's we like to make fun of him because he says that all the time. But he loves it for good reason because it makes him money regularly. So he's trading Tesla very effectively, and that's good for him. Good move. Wow, AMD is a hard trade today. Oops. All right. So we have got. Yeah, I know that super chats are split, but what's the split? Is it 50-50? Is it 15 to 20%.
Hey, what's up,
Yeah.
Peter? Can you hear me?
Have I got a someone talking to me? Is that
Peter, it's
Thor?
Thor. Thor's in the
It's
house.
Thor. Oh
What's
man,
up,
I got to
man?
put this on my headphones. Hold on. Here you go. Now I can hear you.
Yeah. I figured,
Hey,
what's up, man? I thought I'd come in and
welcome.
say hi and hang out with you for a little while. I also love Tesla today, Peter.
Good. Say it then. Say it
I
the way we
love you.
like.
I love you, Tesla. And
I
I
love you,
do
Tesla.
because if Carlos, I don't know if you can switch over to my screen, but I actually shorted the pop in the pre-market. So
Oh,
we had some
there you
levels
go.
marked up around 320. So when this thing ripped
Oh,
into
yeah, baby.
320 and it stalled, and I want to show you all this kind of this fun
He
VPA read on this thing. But it was a really
Carlos is
good one.
not paying attention. He's over on our friends at P Capital live trading with them.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's a tough gig to
yeah,
roll. So at
yeah.
some point I'll show you guys, whenever Carlos flips back and forth, I'll show you guys. But it is it was very, very nice of Elon to buy me a cake today for my birthday.
Yeah,
Uh,
happy
so
birthday.
so by sending me a pre-market trade, which I can tell you I've traded in the pre-market on equities, like maybe like this might be my first one of the year, actually. I
Really?
rarely ever do this, but the
Wow.
volume and the VPA on this squeeze it did was such a beautifully like nice short. And so I ended up
Mm.
holding it all the way through the open, and I got filled just after the open. So it was a really fun move. So I'll show that to y'all at some point in time today. But I also got a
If you
really a
if you can
long on
send me a
ES. Oh yeah, let me
sorry,
send you a
Thor,
screen.
send me a screenshot. I can pop it up at least on my screen.
I'll show you my two because I got a
Oh,
trade
actually, you
on
know what?
here.
I can pull it off of your screen here. One second. I just realized I gotta get up on my own technology here. No?
My own tech here. So good.
What? Okay, here we go. I got you.
You got it?
Let's see here. Let's get this going. Oops. Do. Let's see if we can put this on the screen. Here we go.
So that you guys.
It's not pretty. Can I enlarge? I gotta, how do I enlarge this? Come on. This paint is not that effective.
We're making it
There it
work,
is.
people. We're making it work.
Yeah. Whoa, and then I'm gonna draw all over it.
So there's a
Wah, wah. Anyways, that's as
there's a
good as I
little
got.
There's a higher res version I sent
This
you.
is
So, and then I also got a lovely long on the ES, which was a pivot call that we called out with the call, which is we had a really lovely long off of S3 to the downside. So I actually took a couple contracts of ES futures. So I'll also give you guys a screenshot of that one and hit a
it's
solid price target on that guy as well. So
I drew you a messy birthday cake, Thor.
aw, thank you. Happy messy birthday to me.
All right, hold on. How do I get this?
Should be this guy here.
Let's show everybody let's
And
show
this guy.
everybody Thor's trade here properly.
This
There you
guy and
go.
this
That's
guy.
that's a prettier. Oh no, that's the S&P. No, what am I looking at?
So one's my ES trade where
Oh,
I
that's
got
the
long
ES
on the
trade.
futures, and then the one above it's the Tesla trade where I got short.
There it is. All right, there's a prettier version of it. So, so there
Yeah.
you go.
Ta-da.
Beauty. Lovely and great hold. Look at that. You held right through the open. Just let it do its thing. Thor, I love how you do that, man. I think that's fantastic how you just like you got a target, you know what you're looking for it to do, and you're like, ride or die, baby.
Yeah, it
Ride or
really,
die.
it takes a bit to get used to, Peter, because, right before
Yeah.
the open, it got within 5 cents of my target and then pulled away. But
Mm.
it felt the VPA still supported the continuation to the downside. So I was hoping when the MOO orders hit at the open, I'd get filled, and I was fortunate that I did. So, and because it's my birthday, apparently the market gods are smiling upon me. So I will just take it. And that is true, everybody. You are now tuned in at 10:10 to the episode of the best version of Bear Bull Traders that is called Bald Brothers Trading. And and
That's
uh
it.
so if you like Bald Brothers Trading, make sure you like and
Oh,
subscribe to Bear Bull
here it is.
Traders and give us all the love. And we'll talk about things and have a good time. But yes, thank you very much.
Bald Brothers. Bald Brothers. We just need to get Jared on here. We can get another Baldy.
Yeah, it's
But
for sure.
he's
Jared's the reason I am bald. I told you that. He told me that if I shaved my head, it would not only make me a better trader, but it would disperse the additional heat that I have,
That's
like a
right.
heat sink on a computer. And I really took it seriously. And so far, I'm not really sure if that worked out or not, to be honest. It
It
worked for
works.
Jared.
Yeah.
But so we
Wow.
got long on ES, and I mean ES is still a solid rally so far in the since then. So that's been quite lovely. So
And the
good
ES,
times
is that
today.
following the Qs or the SPY? Or does it?
We have our ES, which is related to the S&P. So ES
Okay.
specifically is if you could consider leaders and laggards, it's kind of like how we like to think about these is it's kind of like a horse and a buggy. So the horse is normally pulling the buggy. Every so often the buggy is capable of pulling the horse. You know what I mean? You go too high up a steep cliff and the buggy is going to pull the horse. You know what I mean? So, and the
Fair
futures
enough.
do have that capability. They are technically not of the S&P because they cash settle, but because they're used as a hedging mechanism by most of your major speculators and options, market makers also use them as hedging mechanisms. They do have the capability that if they go into a really hard sell or if something happens, the market will generally kind of respond to them. But for the most part, they
Wow.
tend to lag. They're kind of like a lagging indicator, just slightly behind the market, but every now and again, just so slightly ahead. So you have to treat it like it's its own thing. But generically, if the market is strong, the future is strong. If the market is weak, the future is weak. And so we trade ES, which is our SPY, and then we trade NQ, which is these are the full size. For those of you looking to get your feet wet, you probably want to trade the micros, which are MES and MNQ. They're a little bit smaller. We also have YM for the Dow Jones Industrial, right? And we can also play the RTY, right? Which is our Russell 2000 futures. So we can basically play any of our major equities. We also play platinum, we play gold, and we play crude quite frequently, as we also like to play commodity futures, as they often run inverse of the market. So they're really fun to play when the market is not so fun, right? So, and boom, there you go.
There you go. Robin Hood running this morning. Look at that. Took that pause at VWAP when we were looking at it, but it did absolutely take off. I hope Carlos got it. This is definitely a Carlos type trade. I don't know if he was watching Hood. I guess we'll find out a little bit later, but
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
would have been a
wow.
good move here.
Robin Hood at is I haven't looked at this for a while, so I did not know that Robin Hood was a $97
Hmm.
ticker. I don't
Yeah.
ever remember it being here.
No,
Um,
well, it's the first time,
wow. And it
I
is,
think. Let me go back here. Yeah, I think it's the
it
first time
is,
since it IPO'd.
yeah.
Oh.
Wow. Look at it go.
You go, Hood.
Yeah. Look at you guys. I mean, I actually started trading on Robinhood. Did you know that? Little
Uh,
side.
yes, you mentioned that
Well,
while you were Ubering.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I was Ubering a bajillion years ago, back before it was cool. Now it's like a whole profession, man. The whole industry has gone crazy. I remember
Yeah.
one of my it was like my first or second Uber run, because there was no food, right? So I just picked somebody up and I drove them like a little bit across town, made $0 like on the entire thing because the person didn't tip me and Uber wasn't like really paying you yet. So
Right.
I was like, okay, this is not going to be a good solution at all. I mean, I guess if I had stuck with it, it's not bad now, but I mean, bah. So, yeah, yeah, I do have trades. I showed you guys. Let me show. Well, I can't show you because Carlos is busy, but Peter did share screenshots earlier. Watch the recording.
Yep.
But Hood looks like it's finding a seller right here. Let's look at Hood's order book and see if we can catch a sell off on this thing. We're getting real. I'm sure we're very far away from VWAP at this point. So,
Yes, we are.
I don't have VWAP on my chart, so I'm not sure. But here we go. I have VWAP on Bookmap. Oh yeah.
94.90.
So
Yeah.
$98 on Hood has a massive ask, and then 100 is lit up like a Christmas tree. So Hood definitely is showing. We're definitely in the sellers right now. So don't be surprised to see this thing sell away because we are in the sellers. That being
Actually,
said, we do not have a lot of bid underneath. So it does not look like we are ready to reverse yet. So if you were thinking about reversing this, I would put this into the category. If you've ever heard the Prophet of Profits say, don't short a strong stock, this would be that moment. I would wait for this thing to bang into 100. If this hits 100, look above. If you can, oh, you can't see my screen.
Here,
When I get my,
I found a way to share it, Thor. Look at this.
but Peter
It's a
is
little
so.
kludgy. It's a little kludgy, but
Peter
it's
is
there.
not only one of the best looking gentlemen in Bearable Traders, he also happens to be one of the most resourceful. So it's actually quite spectacular. And yes, I am one of the best at brown nosing. So good job, people. So if you can see, what you'll notice is we have all of these large green dots on basically showing that our tape is buying like crazy. Right. And then you'll see that we have very little buyers below us right now. So although
it doesn't work.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't work, but we'll show you.
It doesn't work because I think unfortunately because we're going through this Zoom meeting and Zoom is smart enough to not it won't share itself.
It doesn't want to like infinity mirror itself, probably.
Yeah. So yeah. All right. Sorry, that didn't work.
Yama only on our hairlines is the only thing we're complimenting. Everything else is we'll see. But so we'll figure it out here at some point in time.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point in time we'll get a switch. If not, I'm on at 11 o'clock. So now at 11 o'clock, for everyone who's in here right now, I do want to remind everybody that I have a special guest coming on at 11 o'clock today because it is Brains Day at Bearable Traders where we do psychology. So Dr. V, our own in-house performance psychologist, clinical doctor, is going to come on with me today from 11 to 12 to be here to talk anything y'all want to talk about psychology, trading. She is a very successful futures trader. And we are going to be building more and more into the segment as we go through. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I am a futures trader, Shiraz. For the most part, my major trade that I did trade Tesla today because of the news pop was so great. But I did also go long on ES. So I took a couple of full contracts on ES, had a nice price target, and called it a lovely day. I forget exactly what was the Tesla news. Peter, you see, knowing what the news is puts us dangerously close to the F word for me.
Wow. So you did that without even knowing why?
I just knew that we were moving and we were moving in the wrong direction. If we were going to buy and go up, we would have went down first. We went up first, which means we were sweeping our sellers. So I wanted to sell the stuff. And when I get my screen up, I will show you guys the VPA read that went along with that decision. Because I might have went long, but the VPA didn't look like a long. It looked like a short.
Wow. So, I'm impressed. I'm even more impressed. But it was the June delivery numbers that came out.
June delivery numbers.
Yeah. And they actually didn't even... They didn't beat their delivery numbers. They were just close to them. They were about 5,000 cars short. They were expected to deliver about 389,000 cars. They delivered about 384,000. So that's why I thought the move was overdone because, that's good. It wasn't as bad as people had feared, but it's not like they beat
numbers. Yeah, it's not the numbers.
Yeah, so, it's not the number.
I think people are still really hyped about, which by the way, terrifies me beyond all measure. The idea that you can just put your car to work for you. I don't know. It's like you download the app or whatever, install it. Now your Tesla self-drives and goes and makes you money while you're not doing so. I don't know why this whole concept just, I did grow up in a trailer in the middle of the woods on a farm. So I don't know, just something about the thought of even being in a self-driving car freaks me out, much less
I think
my
it's
car
cool.
doing it. I mean, it is. It's
but
amazing.
It is a little freaky.
It freaks
me out. Can you imagine
though.
Forgetting that you set it on the app and you're like, oh yeah, I'm not going anywhere tonight. And then, your car disappears because it's off making you money. And you're like, you know what? I'm just going to run out and get some ice cream or something. Right. And then you go out and you're like, my car, where's my car
at? And then you look at it, it's stolen. Oh no.
Yeah, you're like, no, it's working. It's
working.
Stuff.
You're like, oh, well, I can afford ice cream, but I need another car now. Right. Because now my car is working. So I'm going to need to buy 2 cars.
Yeah, call yourself a different Uber to bring you the ice cream because your car is
Uber Eats. But what if your car brought it back to you? I guess that would work out. Now we're talking.
Now we're like
Come home and
in
bring me ice cream while you're at it.
carception. Yeah, exactly. It's like call on the spouse and say, "Hey, bring me well, on your way home, can you pick up some milk and some butter?
That would
Pick me up some
only
ice cream."
work for me if the car argued with me before it did it. Like it'd be
Just
like, I can, but
you
it's
want the
so
full
inconvenient.
experience.
Can't you do it with the kids? I mean,
Yeah.
I've been working all day.
Yeah,
Then I'd be like,
exactly.
okay, all right, never mind. Sorry, honey. Wait, why am I calling my Tesla honey right now?
That's
Oh
right.
well.
There'll be a toggle button for that the Thor. You can pick spouse mode.
Can
You
I?
could pick like
It's right next to
angry.
Ludacris. Right next to Ludacris, you can pick sassy.
Yeah,
Can I pick sassy mode
exactly.
on my Tesla,
Sassy
please?
mode.
Beep.
Yeah.
Elon's listening to this right now. I want sassy. I want sassy. Yeah, it
There you
was
go.
delivery numbers, everybody. It
Yeah.
was not because of sassy mode.
Yeah.
Fake
But
news.
I think we need to put some that's another one of our great ideas, Thor, that we'll never develop.
I like it.
Yeah.
Rivian,
We
maybe
still
we
haven't
could partner with, maybe they'll
still
want to
haven't
do.
produced our book, Stopped
Ah,
Out to the Penny. It's a great book.
one of the greatest resources ever written.
I know.
That or never written.
Never
Greatest
written,
resource.
yeah.
Oh, Apple, by the way, Apple, really nice play opportunity here. We are at
Okay,
ATR
let's
high
look at Apple.
projection on Apple. So NQ, ES, and everybody, we're kind of running our top side projection and where our large end of our order book is kind of starting to run out. So if you're gonna look for a good spot to get short, we're probably kind of more in that area, and it's not 10:30 yet. Remember, after 10:30, the statistics for our reversals kind of start to tank a little bit, right? We got to start waiting. If you're going to get a good reversal after 10:30, it's almost in this market right now. It's almost better to wait till, maybe like when Peter's hanging out in the afternoons, like
Mm.
around like 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
Mm.
I've been seeing a lot of good stuff happening during some of those, especially on the ES and the NQ. We've had some really fun liquidations, especially when we get the MOC orders to come in for the last 10, which are our market on close orders for everyone unfamiliar. So Brez says that Peter needs to write a book called How to Hit 10R How to Hit minus 10R like a boss should be our other book
Oh,
to go along with our
yikes.
stopped out to the penny. I don't know,
That's
Brez. That's not very nice. I think,
yeah,
but
that's a lot less positive than the book. The Stopped
uh,
Out to the Penny doesn't necessarily mean a
yeah,
bad
we lost
thing. It
money.
was yeah, it was just one of those
Ben
frustrations that
likes
we
it though. Ben likes it though.
yeah.
We've got
All
some
right.
dark people. We've got some dark people. Apple does kind of look like a mountain pass, actually. If I had my 50 SMA on here, I bet we just crossed it.
Yeah.
But this looks actually, Apple looks quite mountain passy for me. So one of the things, for everyone who's wants to learn a really nice, like kind of really comprehensive strategy, I do actually recommend Peter's Mountain Pass. He detailed it very highly, and when I started looking at reversal trading, it actually quite influenced what I'm looking for. For instance, if you're going to go short after 10:30, you want a mountain pass. You do not want a head and shoulders. Why? Because if you break your high of day after 10:30, you're statistically by about 3/4 more likely to close on that side of the chart, right? So a mountain pass negates that statistic by not breaking the high of day. It's a specifically good pattern, which is why I think that Peter has so much success with it. Take that pattern and pair it with a really key level, something like high, previous day's high, previous day's close, pre-market high, a cam level of your favorite choosing, right? Something like that. It really turns into a very effective how to manage your trade around one of these key areas. For instance, right now we have a beautiful mountain pass that's more or less setting up right on top of Apple's ATR high, along with being under R6, being overextended in a higher range. So it's a reversal area that would move us all the way back down towards yesterday's close quite easily by the end of the day. And it gave a really clean reversal signal, right? That'd be a really good one to check into. So for those of you who are looking to learn more about that, I recommend these are those things that's really good about coming behind the BBT paywall. Also search through YouTube. Every now and again, Peter's videos are still lingering. They're really good. But try and get behind the paywall where all of these webinars are being, stored and kept for you, because it's a really holistic approach when you get in here, and Peter's stuff. It's good stuff.
Yeah, a question, Sam, you're asking, like, for example, here's what I can share with you. There's a page out of my journal that and let me just get rid of this show tabs only. Just here's sort of like this would be Tuesday. So 2 days ago. Is that right? Tuesday, June the 30th? That doesn't sound right. What is today? Wednesday? That would be Monday. Monday
Yep.
was June the 30th, wasn't it?
Today's Wednesday.
Yeah. So it was
I
Monday.
had
Did
to
I
check.
get
It's
that
my
wrong?
birthday. I still checked. Yep, that's Wednesday.
Yeah, it was Monday, June the 30th. Anyways, there you go. Anyways, but here was a trade that I took on Monday, and you can see it actually is three trades. I was trying to get this high of day, and this is not sort of a typical afternoon trade for me, but I knew that with Apple, with this big move that it had made higher, you can see I was looking for it to drop, and I was confident in that move. So I took it and then wrote it all the way down here right into the close. So, this very specific strategy with the high of day failure after the aggressive move. Normally, what I'm trading in the afternoon is my 1 to 10 trade, which we do have videos on, and it will show you what that looks like. That 1 to 10 trade really, will outline better, I guess, what my strategy looks like and what I normally trade. But as you can see, like I took a ton of shares in this, and because I let myself get stopped out, it wasn't that lucrative of a day. Like I was barely break even over the day. This is the weird day where I traded a whole bunch in the morning and then a whole bunch at the afternoon. When I say a whole bunch, we're talking like 6 trades in the morning and 6 trades in the afternoon, which is a whole bunch for me. For
Hmm.
some people, that's nothing, but that's a lot more trades than I normally take. Normally, I'm sitting at 2 to 5 trades, usually maximum. So, gives you an idea of what I'm doing all day here. So,
Tesla is going to
all
set
right.
an isolated pivot here at R6. Be careful. If you're long, I'm not saying get out, just be careful. If we're going to find a seller, this is where we will find them. So if we buy through this area, there's a reasonable expectation we go back to pre-market high, but we're also flashing bids to the downside on ARCA. So just be careful because our specialists are showing some order preference to at least back to the open price right now.
Right.
And then after that we'll see. So yeah, there we go. See what I mean on
You're
Tesla?
watching, sorry, Apple? Oh,
No,
no, Tesla.
Tesla
Tesla.
for
Okay.
people who are
Sorry. Let
long
me
on
bring up
Tesla.
Tesla. There we go. Yeah. Nvidia's at the high of day right now. It's trying to hit 156 and go higher, but see if it can. Here, it just went through.
Hood is almost at that big giant seller. We were to see what I mean about not reversing Hood. Don't let the prophet of prophets voice ring loud in your ears in this moment about not shorting a strong stop. All right, this thing has been buying it. Anytime it sold, it was absorbing. The order book is quite strong, but it dies at 100. So I have very little expectation of Hood going higher than 100, and they're not tiering more orders. So if you're gonna look for a short, that'll be the spot. You want it to blast into 100 and exhaust itself. Then maybe it becomes a short. It might not ever be a short, right? This could just close up near 100 and just kind of like just burn off. You know what I mean? So this may not turn into a lasting reversal. So keep that in mind. But it's definitely not a reversal yet. Mm-hmm.
Well, keeping an eye on the markets here, guys, to see where things are
Market's
going.
kind of
That's
spicy today, Peter. There's a lot of little
yeah,
things going
there's
off today.
better moves than I thought. Like I keep telling you guys, right? I don't mind the when we don't have a lot moving pre-market. It gives us opportunity. Again, this is the type of trade or situation that gives me confidence. I was talking to you guys about this morning. Look at CNC. So it did eventually make the move I was looking for. Didn't give me the risk to reward to get into it, but that's okay. My premise was correct, right? I was seeing the trade clearly, and it worked out. It just didn't give me the entry, so I'm okay. Like this used to drive me nuts, the fact that I wouldn't have been in this trade. I'm okay in this instance that I'm not in it because at least I know. I'm seeing the market well, so that gives me some confidence I can carry forward for when I get my next trade opportunity. For instance, right? Nvidia, sorry, here as it's breaking high of day. I'm going to bide my time and wait. There might be a reversal trade on Nvidia for me. Not yet, but it could be 20 minutes or 2 hours from now. But I'll be watching. I'll be on it if and when it happens. Be ready.
See, I didn't
Ready.
steer you strong, Tesla peeps, did I? See what I was talking about? Look at right when I called where we were going to hit that seller at. Look what happened.
Yeah. Pulled back from it.
So that's an R6 cam level with a large order at 314, and they had brought in orders to the downside at the open price. So it was very likely they were going to reoffer here. Last time they started selling from here, we sold all the way to 304. Right. So if we don't find a buyer here, we're pulling back to like maybe I would think likely your 20 EMA right now. If we don't hold your 20 EMA right now, we're going to go down and we're going to hit VWAP again. If we hit VWAP, then we hit previous day's close, or and then we're headed for 300, which is where previous day's close is at. So we'll talk a lot about VPA and learning and watching. As you guys are with me, especially from 11 to 12 every day now, one of the things we're going to talk a lot about is how to start reading the algorithm and understanding the process of how it offers and bids off of these levels. Once you really start to get into it, you really start to understand what it should do. And not that it always does it, not at all, but you know what it should do. So if it's doing what it should be doing, you don't get freaked out. If it's not doing what it should be doing, then you don't do anything. Like I love what Peter was just saying a second ago. Reminder for everybody, by the way, that we're going to have Dr. V on with us today from 11 to 12 to talk all things psychology. And that really kind of falls in the line of kind of what Peter's talking about there, which is just, maybe it didn't exactly line up the exact way you wanted it to, so it didn't work. I actually did a meditation session, Peter, with one of Dr. V's small group sessions. And for those of you who know me and my proclivities, you would have to know that a meditation session for me is like it's like blowing an air horn in an empty cave. You know what I mean? It is just going off in my head the whole time. I'm sitting there trying to, be quiet, calm your mind. It's just crazy. But I've been working on it, right? Because I'm trying to get control of my ADHD brain. You know what I mean? And as I was as I'm doing this, all of a sudden I did kind of have this thought coming through my head as I was getting ready to trade. And it was that I don't take trades, I trade setups, right? I'm not a trader. I'm not here to take trades. That's not my goal. My goal is to identify and take setups. So when I switch that mentality, for an ADHD person, urgency is our number one nail in the coffin. Everything's, urgent, dopamining. We're always running from one thing to the next. So by putting the urgency on identifying the setup versus actually taking trades, it really took some of that anxiety away for me on like making sure I get into a trade. Now I just get into a trade whenever I see what I'm looking for. And it really doesn't have much of an issue otherwise for me. If it works, great. If it doesn't, great. Which is kind of fun, kind of a different way to do it.
I love it.
But I will get like I said, we're going to have our own Dr. V in here for this session, and y'all better be on your best behavior. Maybe we'll be able to talk her into coming by more often. But so y'all don't embarrass me now. I embarrass myself plenty. Thank you for all the help.
Yeah, don't need your support on that.
I do not need any help. Okay. All right. So Hood is starting to look a little toppy. So, but still no orders to the downside. So it doesn't look like a reversal, but it does look like it's struggling to continue to move to the top side. But we are trying to negotiate this big order at 100 right now, and they seem like they want it.
And this is history. This is an all-time high and a big number, right? For any stock. So the first time it breaks 100.
I think someone wants to be a part of history, my friend, because it looks like they want this order. They are buying this order like no one's business. So I'm really excited. It'll be fun to watch them. The amount of volume that's probably going to come through on this order if they eat it is going to be spectacular. ATR low projection if they sold from here would basically be like a move back to like 96 maybe. So if we sold off maybe back down to around 96 or 97 at most. I wouldn't expect to go any lower than that. So, but wait till they eat 100. I wouldn't touch this thing at all to the opposite side unless it eats 100 and then looks like a party. Can you derive all the info of Bookmap with your level 2? Yes, absolutely, Nicholas. Like if you're using DOS's level 2, if you use like the quote highlight feature, you can kind of create your own little mini book map there, which is pretty sweet. The only issue is with level 2, you don't have historical, right? So if you're looking at level 2, you can't tell what was there before versus what's there now. Boom,
Oh,
there we
here we
go.
go.
Here it
Oh,
goes.
there we
Here it
go
goes.
on
Here it goes. Here it
Hood.
goes. Here it goes. We
Yeah.
gotta see this. Oh, it's so yummy. Look at them. Nom, 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 nom. Just eat that
Yummy,
order.
yummy, yummy, yummy.
Woo. God, look at the absorption though. See how it didn't engulf. It's just they're just eating that order. All right, so this will be now we want to see, do they buy this order and close above it? Or do we just start to sell like crazy? This will be fun. Ooh, they're buying it still. Oh, that's fun. All right, so they closed it high. Interesting. All right, so what is the response if they offer this premium? Do we keep buying or do we find a seller now? If we're going to distribute, it should be from somewhere right around here now.
Oh,
Boom! There it
wow.
is. There it is.
Oh, right back
Look at
up
that.
though.
Look at that. Look at
Wow.
that. That's the specialist algorithm now starting to hit. No way. So this is almost
Yeah.
like an opening range candle right now. There's no way to know what's going to happen based upon this candle, but this is what we've been looking, it's not a moon,
Yeah.
it's a space station. This is what we've been looking for. Right? So we're here.
So
We found it. Now, boom, here they go.
There you go. So I was looking for a short on this.
How you guys doing?
Hey, Carlos!
We're
welcome
having
back.
fun, man.
Just
We're
in
having
time.
I'm
Just
hearing
in
some of the
time.
action, man. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
So,
Oh,
guys,
man,
I was
good
looking
stuff.
for a potential short on Hood. I was actually poised to take a short, but exactly like Thor was pointing out, after we hit the 100, it actually was finding support there, and
Yeah.
it was buying a little bit higher. So I did not see the weakness that I was looking for that would tell me this thing's about to drop, and I would need like a good dollar drop right off of that to make the risk to reward worthwhile.
Yeah.
Because this
Look,
thing
they're
could
still
spike
buying.
up. Right, and here we are going higher. So I'm happy to have stayed out of it. But yeah, exciting. Hood is over 100 for the first time, guys. This puts Hood in a different category, and it could make it much more fun to trade over the next little while. So if
We have
anybody's
a
long on
strong
this,
monthly level on Hood at 101.57 and intraday level for the extended at 102. So
excellent. There
it
you go.
looks like we're running our monthly range all the way up to our monthly R3 for our cam structure is up at 101. So that's beautiful. But Peter's 100% right. Look at that absorption you saw, but it didn't sell off, right? For hitting that level. What happened? What was the response? It actually closed as a relatively strong candle, and then we bought that candle. So it's still looks good, still strong. So not a reversal yet. And then on the order book to the downside, do we have big orders yet coming into the downside? And if I zoom out a little bit, I think you'll clearly see, not really. You know what I mean? So for everything we've done, we do have a bid coming in at 90 now, but nothing close enough to the price to make me think the specialists are going to turn around and run for it. Oh, they just brought in a bid underneath at 100. They flashed. I don't know oh no. Man, there was a quick bid that flashed at 100. So if they come back, someone's still ready to buy more at 100. That's fun. Interesting. Always fun to watch the game. See, I could watch like NFL and it would be less like it's less fun than watching this kind of order like stuff on this. I find this all incredibly entertaining.
Thor, happy birthday, man. Didn't get a chance
Thank
to tell you happy
you.
birthday.
Real birthday instead of the
Real birthday,
unbirthday.
yeah. Yeah, good, man. Hopefully you
So-
enjoy your day and your weekend.
That's not fair, Ian. Ian said that I only like it better than football because I'm a Jags fan. And that's actually
yeah,
quite
that's-
true. That is actually quite true. It's rude, but
That's
true.
a little harsh, though.
Harsh, but true.
That feels below the belt. That one.
It was. It was but true. Yeah, I'm 44 now, people. I'm getting older. I'm growing hair where it will still grow. And so the beard is getting longer while the hair on the top is getting shorter. So let's
Yeah.
go.
That's
But
it.
thank you.
It's the way it goes. Hey, look, and he's a real Jags fan. He's a true fan. He's stuck with the team, right? Thick or thin. So good for you, buddy. And not one of those join on the bandwagon when all's going good.
That's right.
you
I
know?
like it when my tickets are cheap. That's right. I don't like it when they're expensive.
That's right. You want that surprise season that you can take advantage of, and you're like, I've been here, man. Been here the whole time.
Here goes Hood. This will be the moment on
Yeah.
Hood. So this is selling. All right, so we have genuine selling hitting on Hood now. We have market orders that are being applied to the bid for the first time with no absorption. So that was a very strong isolated pivot with a sell candle. So that's our first real signal that's our first signal that we have found our premium for the day. So if we get a nice reoffer here, we pull back up a little bit, we could potentially look to get in on this. It was still a strong ticker though, so we got to be careful with it. But that's what we're looking for. That's the kind of stuff we're looking for as far as initiating some kind of a reversal. That was a full trend break along with a very large algorithmic sell. So yeah, that's the good stuff. So let's see what the response to that sell candle was. Let's see if we get more selling now or if they squeeze that and try and reoffer the sell side. So that'll really give us an idea of how strong this sell is going to be.
That's a compliment, Sab Writer. If your girls think that Thor looks like a mini you.
A mini me?
Mini me. Does that mean
I'm quite tall.
Thor, I was gonna say Thor's not usually a mini anybody. He maybe he's a tall guy, so
I mean, 6'1", 6'2", depending on which gas station I'm walking out of.
You got a hunch when you have the mask on.
Depending on which Petro, I'm coming out of. Okay.
Have you guys seen a 7-Eleven has like a tape measure on the door?
That's what I'm talking about. That's how I know how tall I am. Whenever I walk out of the gas
like
station, I can be like 6
if
feet.
somebody sticks them up, they can tell the cop how tall they was by the way they leave. Yeah, they
that's
were
exactly
6'1". Is that what it is?
That's exactly what it's for. Yeah.
That's why you always hunch when you walk out of the gas station.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why you never hunch when you walk out of the gas station.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Really weird were you into, Thor, but yeah, that makes sense. I've seen them like I just realized like that like a week ago, like why is that there? People are measuring themselves, and I'm like, oh, I know what's going on here.
Yeah,
they're expecting to get robbery,
but you never really know how tall you are, right? Because they're like, it's like how good was the guy who put up the tape measure? You know what I mean? Like, so sometimes it's like I'm sure it's perfect. Other times it's like, man, I didn't know I was 6'4". This is great.
Look at me, I'm 7 feet tall.
I must have worn my tall shoes.
Somebody.
You see that, by the way, the tall shoes thing now on like TikTok and stuff like that. They're like buying guys' shoes, but they have like this much padding on the bottom, and it's like a whole thing.
No, I've seen those. Have you heard of these equal footing parties? So they call them different things, but basically where they get these platform shoes, so they basically take the tallest person who's attending the party, and everybody becomes their height. So depending on your height, you have to put different level platforms so everybody can look at each other in the eye. It's a very weird. I've never gone to one, but just the concept is extraordinarily weird. And because like I'm used to, like my wife is she's 14 inches shorter than I am.
I was gonna say she's literally like 4 feet shorter than Peter.
Yeah. But then they have these, yeah. So anyways, can you imagine being in a party where everybody's just the same height, artificially, of course, but it'd be interesting. It'd be neat to. Especially if you invite an NBA player.
Yeah,
I think we should do our next. Now that would have been. Hey, look, I'm wearing it. That would have been Elevate, right?
Yeah, there you go.
If we all had platform shoes on, so we were all the same height. That would definitely be a concept.
Somebody's gonna like break an ankle though, putting on those. But anyways,
and it would be me. So thank God I'm already
concept.
tall. I'm known for lots of things. My coordination, not the one.
Right.
So Hood looks like we're working on that sell right now. So we've lost $100 and the profit taking. Think about anyone who has been holding Hood for a while. It just busted $100. If you had been holding Hood since $50, would you still hold Hood right now? I wouldn't. I'd be selling the crap out of this thing right now and I'd just buy it back later. Right. So, and apparently the market is starting to feel that a little bit. We are definitely getting some profit taking. These are genuine market orders hitting the bid. So these are real sellers. So, and the specialists here are not electing to absorb these sells. they're letting them go to the book. So that's what we call distribution. So we are seeing some generalized distribution now on Hood, where before we were strictly accumulating on the fly. There was no distribution in sight on this thing as we had been running. This is the first time we've actually seen genuine. We bought that big order at 100. Remember, I told you don't even think about shorting it before 100. Now you see why I told you that, do you not? So we ate through 100. Peter was right on his read. It wasn't ready to go short yet. It squeezed a little bit more, found that selling, and now we're starting our move down a little bit later. Now the issue is how far can we sell? This is going to be a really interesting one because we do have a narrow range on this ticker today. It is conceivable we could do an ultra rare, which is it's more or less a narrow range R6 to S6. It would be a full run back across the range. It would be a massive trade. Is it possible now that Hood has hit $100 that the profit taking could kick in so heavy that we could actually completely rerun all the way back throughout the day's low? You know what I'm saying? Could we really go all the way out this side? Or do we think we're going to get stuck more on the top end? I would say getting stuck on the top end is probably more likely, right? So, because this would be an ultra rare, but if this ultra rare occurred, it would be the most money you'd probably made all year. So just kind of keep that in mind. But right now, it looks like we're just kind of fishing buyers. So keep an eye on it. But I mean, it could be crazy if it did it, but more likely statistically to stay up here, right? So good stuff. Ooh, look at that big order coming in. See, now we actually have big bids coming out to the downside where before we didn't. Ha. So, case in point, been holding for weeks and sold right below 100. Michael, thank you, sir. I will speak to your graces for reinforcing what I said right there ever so easily. But that is true. Now it certainly could go more, but if you'd been holding for that long, why even worry about it? I mean, $100 is, you would expect institutional selling to start around here. Even if it just gives back 10 or 15% of its total price over the next couple of weeks, you could just buy back in, right? And keep the difference. Really solid sell, Michael. I really like that idea. So a couple little things here as it is 10:47. Just wanted to run by some generalized housekeeping since everyone's hanging out. Number one, you know what we got to do, people. I only ask one thing of all of you every so often, and it's super obnoxious, and I'm so sorry to do it, but please take a moment if you have not smashed said buttons of which you should smash, please smash them immediately. Also, thank you. Also, any sharing you'd like to do, all of that kind of stuff, always appreciated. Remember, I'm going to be on from 11 to 12 today as usual, right? So, now today, as I said, we do have a special guest on today who we are hoping to keep around. So we have our Dr. Vanessa, as we call Dr. V, is going to be coming by to do a psychology segment with us today. So it's a really great opportunity for everyone in here to see one of the major reasons you want to hang out behind the paywall at BBT, because BBT isn't just about educational content. We've got great staffing, but and part of what I'm going to do in my 11 to 12 segments, as I've said, is I'm trying to bring those staff. So next Tuesday, Lenny's going to be back with us. I'm going to try and have Paris on with me. I'm going to hang out with Peter now, which I was going to have a conversation with him. I had him on my list of people to contact, ask if I could have him on at some point from the 11 to 12, because I'm going to always try and bring our people and show the case they're trading, and they're, kind of more of a variety segment from 11 to 12.
Beauty. Variety show.
I got, maybe I, kind of like me being the Johnny Carson of stock trading, just, variety hour, bringing on good edutainment and all kinds of stuff. I've also reached out to some other people I'd like to bring on, a couple of market maker buddies from the NYSE I'm going to try and have on, and some other stuff like that. So it should be a lot of fun to try and, try and do that. So make sure y'all are around, make sure you're liking, because if you don't do that, then Andrew will get bored with me and stick me back behind the paywall. So come on, like it. So anyway, so Hood finding a little bit of buying here. So it's trying to get a little bit of a pop back up to the highs. They're not relenting.
Yeah, I wasn't able to catch this short off the high, but it wasn't an easy one. If it breaks those key levels and then moves a little bit higher, it's always tough to know how far it's going to go. And in hindsight, it's easy, but at the moment, wasn't that super easy to catch the beginning of that. So
I'm a
fun
little
though.
Romoing on my ES trade here, Peter. I hit such a nice profit target on this and then realized, look at that thing go. Hmm. Little. I guess the market was trying to be happier on my B day than I thought
I
it was.
guess.
I underestimated.
Where's Carlos? You still out there, Carlos?
Yep, I'm here
Must be
listening
around
in.
somewhere. Okay.
I'm here.
You might
Yep.
want to switch over at this point
Yeah.
to Thor's screen because
Yeah, I can show
he's
people my
talking
stuff.
stuff and
Yep.
showing what
Let's do that.
I was
So I'll
trying
show you
to
guys my future
trying to show
trade.
a screen, but yeah, they wouldn't let me zoom in the zoom, so it was
Yeah,
not
Zoom's like
working.
Zoom in the
no.
zoom.
Zoom is
Yeah,
like no
it was not
Zoom.
happening.
Not
The
okay.
how did Peak Capital go, by the way? Everything good over there?
Oh, great, man. Really, really good.
Okay,
Yeah, so
good.
we had a couple of trades. We did
Did you get
traded,
PLTR? That's what I want to know.
I did
Oh
not.
no,
I got another one.
no.
I got another one.
Wait, no. Was it PLTR? No, what was I looking at that I said this is
What
a
were you
Carlos
looking at?
trade?
Let's
You
see.
guys remember? Oh, Hood. It was
Yeah.
actually the early trade on Hood.
No, I didn't. I didn't catch
No?
Hood, but I did
No
see
Hood?
it. No, no Hood. I got
I thought that
Apple.
was your...
Apple was the trade today.
Oh, you
Oh.
got
Yeah,
Apple. Did you really?
Apple.
yeah.
Wow.
Let's look
Okay.
at Apple here.
Oh.
This was the
I
trade.
thought that
Let's
might have
see.
moved a little early for
Yeah.
you. Oh,
No,
Carlos.
5 minute
Nice.
RB was awesome,
Yeah.
man.
Good,
5 minute
Yeah.
good
RB.
grab. Okay. All
So
right.
we took it here for that play. It was really nice, man. Remember we talked about Apple also being good in the pre-market, like we never seen Apple trade the
Yeah.
way it did.
No,
It
I
delivered
pointed that
today,
Yeah.
out.
man.
Yeah.
It
Apple was a
really did.
beautiful. It shorted really nice.
Yeah.
It came. I really like the open. You're right. I love it. Even re-offered the top of the OB as well. So if you missed the
Yeah.
initial pop, you could have bought it on that pullback.
Yeah, really, really nice place. And the members did well too. We had some people that did take Hood as the play there. With I saw Andrew took that as well. So yeah, some people did very well today. But yeah,
Yeah, that
Apple
ended
made the
up being
day,
a
man.
party.
Apple definitely made the day. Let me throw your screen here.
Yeah.
Peter, how about you? What did you do today? I missed you
I just
trading.
had a quick trade on Tesla. I was trying to catch it short off the open, and I got stopped out pretty quickly. So, not much going on. And I was talking a lot about how to preserve my emotional and mental capital, right, for the later afternoon trades that I need to or like to take better. So it's all good. I'm happy with the way the day's sitting right now.
Nice, nice, nice.
So someone, Mad Props, mentioned something about membership. So unfortunately, Andrew is not here because he is on his way to ring the NASDAQ bell without me. Not bitter. But it's even my birthday, but I'm just saying, whatever.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I only have the authority to give away non-sanctioned rides in Andrew's car. But that's all I have power over. So I can't give away memberships, unfortunately. So we'll have to wait for him to get back into the office on that one, I would imagine. I mean,
Oh,
Peter, do
big.
you have membership giving power? I don't think either of us.
No, I
Yeah, so
don't.
sorry. We can we
So
can we can only give away stays at Andrew's penthouse apartment and with
yeah.
rides in his car. But you have to pay for the gas because his insurance is incredibly high. It's incredible.
Big volume spike here and move on Nvidia to high of day, just in case anybody's interested and you're not watching it. Look at that.
We just got an alert on
Uh,
AMD.
Thor, did you know? I'm not sure if you heard me earlier, but I was talking about the fact that this is a very unique day. That this July 2nd is, well, I guess I
Oh,
don't know if it is every year, but it's the middle of the middle. So it's the middle day of the week, but it's also the exact middle day of the year. Did you know that?
interesting.
Right now, we are at the 183rd day of the year. And that means that there's 182 days past in 2025 and 182 days to go in 2025. So
What?
we are at
That's
the exact
wild.
midpoint of the year. Here's what's even crazier if you want to feel old. Sharing this fact. Jared shared this with people earlier. As of tomorrow, we will officially be closer to 2050 than we will be to 2000.
Mercy.
Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird?
That's
That's weird.
wild. I was
That
wondering
sounds
why I
weird to me.
felt so old.
There you go. So
I knew I felt extra old for a reason. I thought it was just because I was turning 44. I didn't realize it was just because I was super
Mm,
extra old.
yeah, well,
Well, now I know.
now you know. I think that's
So
sort of
I'm Thor in the
cool.
middle. Thor in the middle of the middle. My
Right.
goodness. So speaking of, hey, I have a screen. Hey, look, I'm gonna check it out. You guys, here's my Tesla. So now you can see what I did. I was watching the pre-market show, which I've heard is a great show to watch. And as I was
It
watching
is.
it, all of a sudden I started hearing like everyone got super excited about the new, Tesla, not quite hitting projections. I know that now because Peter told me. I didn't know it before. I'm not gonna act like I did. And then so it popped. So the first thing I read right out of the gate was actually, although it was a very large candle, I actually read the move as being quite disingenuous. And the reason why I did is because for Tesla to move the amount it moved, it should have required around 2 million shares for it to buy that far. And it bought that far on around 500,000. So it was really too big of a move. So for all of you there that are into ICT concepts and all of those other kind of things, what do you naturally think of when you see a very large move given away with too little volume? You're generically thinking, right, we're going to reoffer value, right? So on this candle, when we came back and we reoffered value, exactly, Nicholas, this is some kind of like, institutional or some kind of manipulation that's happening right now. You have algorithms that are coming in and buying the news, trying to get ahead of the volume, but generically, we won't let that happen. Right. So we come back and we test that value area. And when given the opportunity to buy, what happened? Nothing. We didn't buy. We didn't close above premium of the previous candle. We didn't even manage to really buy up through it. And the volume actually dropped. On the next two candles, our volume actually increased. But what is weird about the next two candles if the volume is increasing for my VPA traders? Our candles are getting smaller and they're getting truncated, right? So we're putting in more effort to go less distance. So for me, with the manipulation and the struggle, this is a reversal signal, right? So as soon as we opened, sold up, and then broke through the open, so we basically sold our opening price. As soon as we did that, I hit the candle through my stop right above the high. That gave me a really nice profit target for I risked about $200 on this trade with actually a generous fill. I made around 850 on the fill, right? So which was pretty sweet. And then because I was liking the open, I actually got a call on my pivot system on micro futures from the open, right? So I went ahead and longed S3 at the open. As you can see here, kind of the same thing. It swept below this low, and as it bought its open, I went long through my stop below the low, and I hit a profit target on this one very quickly because it was two full-size contracts. So you can make a pretty good amount of money really fast on two full-size contracts. Tesla just started selling again, by the way, up at 315. So you can see now we've kind of run the top side of our range now, and we're kind of getting hung up here. But so two really nice plays and really nice birthday. We'll call it fun. So, but those are my trades. So, but look at this ES trade ended up being amazing. I wish I would have held this long. This was two full-size contracts. This would have been like $4,000, $3,000 if I'd have held this whole thing. So I should have. What are you gonna do? I didn't realize I was just going for a scalp off of this one. I wasn't really sure because we had a neutral range, so I didn't want to be too assumptive that we were going to run the whole range, but we actually did. So cool. So we have about a minute left here with my guy Peter, and then I'm gonna let him go out. So I think, what do you guys think? Should I try and talk Peter into maybe coming by on the occasional 11 o'clock segment from time to time to hang out with me? I really like hanging with Peter. It's a lot of fun. We got to guilt him into it, right?
Oh, no guilting needed. I'm happy to jump in whenever I can. So you
So
bet. You let me know when, buddy. I'm here anyways.
we'll try it. So I'm gonna try and reach out and look at Peter. Maybe we can have him on every couple of weeks or something like that for some Ball Brothers trading.
Oh,
So
love
I
it.
just think it would be a lot of fun. And like I said, I'm always trying to make sure that we get as much as much into this 11 to 12 segment. I'm obviously kind of like the host of the show, I guess, but I think it's more fun if this is a variety thing and you get to see everything that's inside of BBT. And I think after you seeing it, you're going to find it so irresistible. You're going to have to join up and come and hang out with us every single day. Because then you get all of our webinars and you get to hang out with me on like Thursday night mentorings and you get to hang out with Paris behind the paywall and all this stuff. So it's a lot of fun. So yeah. So settings on that, and then I will let Peter say his, I don't know, his so it's the settings are Thor mode. So that was easy. So, and we'll let Peter do his closing segment, and then we're going to transition into our own brilliant Dr. V, who I can see is waiting in the wings.
Fantastic. Well, let me clear space for her to join on and help you out here. Guys, whatever you do, trade smart today. There's great trade opportunities. Just be patient against them. We had some good trade opportunities this morning. So as you guys know, I'm very cautious on these things. This is my prime time. So I'm going to be watching intently. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have some good stuff to talk about. So enjoy the rest of your time. Later, everyone.
All right, everybody, with me coming on now is the I would say is probably the rising star in the bear bull traders community as far as I'm concerned. We've kind of adopted Dr. V, I think, as our own in-house psychologist, and now her material is starting to flood throughout the community as she's really helping. And I've been really excited about bringing her on to YouTube for y'all, and I know I promised. So without further ado, it's two of me, and then hopefully we'll have I just saw two of me come up on YouTube, which is pretty funny. But we'll have her on here. Now, about her, and I'll let her talk a little bit of an intro herself as well once I can see her on. But we will, I'll let her talk about, but just so y'all know, for some bona fides, right? She is a PhD, practicing clinical psychologist, successfully profitable futures trader, right? Has been featured on all kinds of different YouTube shows already. Has presented on TEDx events for performance and brain rewiring. She does neuroplasticity. She does everything, and including I've done meditation sessions with her and her small group myself. Really top-notch person. So I thought it would be awesome to bring y'all, Dr. V. So without further ado, Dr. V. Hi.
Hello.
Welcome.
First of all, happy birthday to you, to
Thank
our
you.
host, turning, what, 29 today?
Yes. 29 with some grays, absolutely.
Double digit.
Double
Happy
digits,
birthday.
yes, double quads. Yeah, 44.
Hey, that's great. So hi everybody. I'm very excited and honored to be here with you today. So my name is Vanessa Charland. I am a doctor in psychology, neuropsychology, and medical sciences. So yes, I did a blended PhD. Working in a hospital. I studied the brain a lot, and my job is for now to be a clinical psychologist and a trading coach. So what I do basically is I help people to rewire their brain, whatever the purpose is. Okay, they have depression, anxiety, they want to perform. So we need a different brain. We need to change habits. We need to change the way we think. And I always say, whatever you want to change, it starts by one thought at a time. Okay, you need to get self-aware of what's blocking you, and then you need to work on that one thought at a time. Okay, I've seen incredible changes in my practice. Okay, the private practice, the regular practice, and the trading practice too. People change. Especially in this arena, we know trading is so hard, might be the hardest thing we ever do, okay? Because it challenges every brain cell that we have. And it's not easy because we need to change the way we approach everything. We need a new brain. And for that, I think working on our brain is the priority. Before we learn how to push a button, please, there's some basic psychological concepts that we need to come across. First of all is we suck at trading naturally. Okay, I wish somebody would have told me that. Hey, by the way, you will suck at it, right?
Same. I wish somebody had told me that at the beginning. Nobody told me when I was going to come into this thing, you're going to have to like be a better person. So many of us are focusing on technicals and stuff like that, right? And that's not where the real battle is going to be, right, Doc?
Yeah, I mean, we need to learn how to trade technically. We need to learn the platform. We need to learn strategy. We need to learn about the markets. I'm not saying that. But at the same time, we need to bring the brain to work too. Okay, we will need to understand that we're not good at this because the brain wants us to survive, and trading is not made for surviving, right? Trading is risking. Trading is not knowing what will happen next, and trading is us being wrong all the time. How does it feel natural at all, right? It doesn't feel natural to do that. Also, we need to become happy losers. Who likes to lose, right?
Not me.
So, yeah, it's hard.
So, we've got some comments here real quick as we're going through. Apparently, the t-shirt is in high demand right now. Everyone's loving the AC/DC. Agreed.
I wait
So,
to hell.
so that's awesome. Yeah, Ben hates losing. Man, who doesn't hate losing? You know what I mean? No matter what like background you come from, I don't know if I know anybody who just like walks around like all day going, you know what I'm okay with? Losing. You know what I mean? Like it's just not like natural, like at all. You know what I mean? And I think that's why this is so hard. Like nobody told you when you were gonna start doing this thing, like you're gonna have to be okay with these things. I know I thought it was just gonna be learning some math kind of stuff and I could just start hitting some buttons and we'd start doing it, and so you really have to rewire, like Dr. V is saying, like kind of the way you approach these things if you even have a chance at doing it. So for me, and John's saying something, and PK, that I think kind of resonates. But John, I really like what you're saying there, which is if you start changing your priorities towards things like being more like into following the process versus actually taking trades, you can really revert that. And I was actually telling them before you came on, Dr. V, that I did a meditation session with one of your small groups once. And during that session, I actually had this moment where I started hearing in my head that I take setups, not trades. I take setups, not trades. And then I came in that next day with a different sense of urgency in the market. Like I didn't feel like I got to get in and got to get a trade, because it's like, it's not about that. I'm just waiting for an alert to go off. Once the alert goes off, I'm going to evaluate that as a setup. And if it is a setup, I'm going to take it. And no matter what happens, that's really outside of my realm of control at that point. I'm just here to take setups. And that has taken so much anxiety out of my trading. And you've been directly responsible for that. So I want to say thank you. So everybody pay attention to what Doc's saying. It's good stuff.
But again, we take the process. But naturally, if the trade fails, like I've been not chopped, but I had 2 losing trades on gold. Okay, so far, like I had an overnight short that didn't work out. And now I was looking for another short that didn't work out. I didn't take the setup, but I was looking for a new low and on the 1 hour chart. I had a trend break yesterday and we reclaimed my level at 3348.4. And now it's messing around that level. Okay, I have a trend there. So I'm waiting to see, are we holding trend and my level to go long, or are we just trend breaking and breaking my level? Anyways, I took my setup and it was an overnight trade. And when I have an overnight trade, usually when I wake up in the morning, it's like maybe Christmas, right? Like I open my platform and I'm like, oh, maybe I made money while sleeping, because 2 days ago I made money while sleeping, like 2 good trades on RTY and CL. And this morning I had a losing trade. So it's still a bummer. I mean, it is normal. Okay, I'm not gonna be, hey, that's okay. Like I like it. Like it's natural to be, oh, it didn't work, right? But it's more, my value is not attached to it anymore. I think one of the one of the issues I had, because my trading journey was highway to hell. Like seriously, okay? I had all the issues, all of them. And I was putting my value almost as a person on each one of the trades. Like if I'm doing my process, it should work, right? We still have this expectancy because as human, when we do something, we do it because we expect to be right. We expect to work. Okay, so the main idea in normal life is if you respect the process perfectly, you check everything that's in there, you're supposed to be right. But in trading, even if you do exactly what you should do, you might lose the trade. Like, how is this natural again? It's not. It's so weird, but I did everything, like everything was perfect. What happened? Maybe I suck. And that's the problem here.
That's a big problem for me because I'm very interested in you know, competency, right? Like that's why I value my own competency in things. So I know personally, like when I lose trades, it's a hit on my own you know, am I able to do this? Am I really reading this? Am I really competent? And it actually creates an emotional response that I wouldn't even expect because it's actually hitting me like at that core. I don't really have value to money in that way. I actually have more of a value in competency. And that used to be a lot of my big issues in my early trading career. Blew up my first trading account, like we've talked, you know, you know, just because I was bag holding, right? I was just unwilling to just, you know, to just give away the losers because I just wanted to win so badly. You know what I mean? That I was doing that. But I mean, I guess we've all gone through that to get here. I, for one, though, still find it surprising that knowing how good of a trader you are now and how well you process it, you actually had to go through the druthers like the rest of us. Like, you know, you'd kind of just assume like a great doctor, you coming in, you've already got psychological and performance experience. Wouldn't you just come in and just do all the things? But what you've shown is for everyone, maybe have the right expectation of yourself. If someone with our doctors kind of trading leaning in, you know, can still struggle, maybe you don't have to feel so bad about you struggling a little bit. Just, you know, listen and you know, she can lead you through some of those traps maybe, but it's really cool. It's actually kind of reassuring, I think, to hear that.
Yeah, I think we really have to separate ourselves and our performance to the outcome. The outcome should be only an outcome. Our real job is to respect the process and do everything we should be doing. If we respect the process, then it's the market conditions. It's the probability, you know, maybe a trade will work, maybe it won't work. We cannot control that. But it's so not natural to separate the outcome of what we do because we are wired to put one A plus B equals C together, right? So just bringing the awareness to that, saying, hey, like, I don't control this, but I control how I act, how I press the button or not. And I think it would be very interesting if we could have some questions from people or maybe the struggles you're going into. Like, I really want to be as helpful as possible during this 1 hour for you guys. Like I said, my journey was so hard that I've probably been through everything and still sometimes like it's still difficult, right? So I'm very human, even though I studied forever, right? Knowing more about trading was not what I needed. I needed to just put everything at the garbage and then start all over again, like on a new canvas, you know, like a new painting. Okay, what's going to happen? And I started to put back essential stuff only: price action, higher time frame levels, trend lines. That way, my rules are so simple that it's hard for me not to follow them. And I think that's the goal, because at the end of the day, you could put everything on your chart, right? Everything is important. VWAP works, CAMs work, trend lines work. I mean, everything works sometimes, right? You need to choose what's important for you. What do you feel comfortable with? If you only feel comfortable trading VWAP setups, just put VWAP on your chart and maybe volume, right? But you don't need to choose everything and just, I was taking stuff from this moderator, this mentor, this YouTube guy that makes so much money. And then I was overwhelmed. So yeah, I would invite people to share with us.
We got some couple coming in here, so I'll try and maybe push it through four. So one was Virdi was asking how much luck do you think is involved in trading, if any? I thought that was kind of interesting.
Define luck, please.
Verity, define luck. And while you're defining luck, little housekeeping here for everyone who is having an absolute blast hanging out with Dr. V and would like me to convince her to come every Wednesday. Make sure you like the channel and all of those kind of things and making sure to say this. I love the activity though. I mean, y'all are chatting great and this is brilliant. So I really appreciate that. And all those things. So what about this one? Because this in groups, maybe like 2 or 3 of them together. Someone that's always struggling with sticking to targets. Well, what would do you have any recommendations for someone who is, maybe they're doing well on getting entries, but they actually are losing or not succeeding because they just keep cutting their winners too early?
So again, I will ask another question. When you back test your trade, when you look at the trade at the end of the day, would you say that most of the time the price reaches your target?
So yes, he'd say yes.
So you have enough data to say like, yeah, 80% of the time, like most of the time it reaches my target. So if you have that, you know that most of the times the price will reach your target, right? So knowing that, why are you stopping your trade early?
So yeah, I think that's a great question. If you've got the data that supports it, right, you can see it happening from day to day, what is holding you back and what's keeping you from doing that. So it may not, maybe nothing to do with your trading.
I would like to know the answer to that. So why cutting the trade early if we know that most of the time it reaches the target?
Uzman says fear. He's
Fear
just
of what?
fear it will go the other way. Fear that it's going to give away the unrealized profits that he already has.
And what happens if the trade goes back to the entry point or the stop loss? What happens then?
What do you think, Usmar? What happens if it goes back and it goes all the way to your entry? What happens? Your winning trade does what? I'd say it's a -1R, right? It loses.
Or it goes back to break even, because let's
Right.
say the trade went well in your direction, and you can protect your capital then and say, you know what, it should not come back here. If you have a great entry, the trade should go and it shouldn't go back and test your entry. So let's say that it's either 1R loss or it's a break-even trade. Either way, most of the times, based on your data, it will reach the target. Why not focusing on that? So I would advise that you put on a trade with a bracket on and you don't touch it. You set an alert on your stop loss and you set an alert on your profit target. And again, we need to be careful with profit target, okay? Don't aim for the moon, okay? Just have a nice base hit trade, like a 2-to-1. If you're building psychological capital, if you're slowly growing your account, no home runs, please. Take the nice trade, like the next level where we expect the price to bounce. and then you test it, and then you build your confidence, you build your account. And yes, maybe at some point you say, you know what, I'm gonna trail the trade for the entire day, and I will have a stop trail or a trend that will tell me, should I still be in this trade or not? But at the beginning, I would really advise to have like normal day-to-day basis. Like not every day is a Disneyland visit, right? So yeah. So again,
I couldn't agree more with that.
Data is important.
So I think I did a lot of my progression based on data like you're saying. So I started off with, I was more or less going for 2 Rs. And then as I realized I was leaving more on the table, I just pushed for 3. But then as I ran my statistics, I realized I could get 4. So it just kind of was just this allowing the data to kind of steer me in the direction of what to do. And then also to some too, I found in my own confidence level with trading for me, confidence doesn't come from knowing what will happen. It comes from knowing what I will do based upon what could happen, right? So kind of what you're saying there, like, find out what it means to get out. Either have a bracket on, you don't get out, you're going to go for that target, it's done. If you're going to exit, have a reason to exit. Like I've seen Dr. V, for instance, get out because it makes a significant new high it should not make once it starts going in her direction. That's a reason to get out, that she has clearly defined why she can get out. So she can say, I'm okay with holding for this target. If it does this, I'm out. Right. And that allows her to generate some of those additional content. But if you're not in control of those things, they can really heighten your emotions, which I think gets us into this next question set, which is how to not let an anger-filled day ruin the rest of your day. Because we have people that are struggling with revenge trading and holding losers. But I think Eric specifically had a question that I really like: how to not let an anger-filled day ruin the rest of your day. How to recover from it, maybe.
Okay, but first maybe we should go back to the luck question. Maybe we have an
answer. Yeah. Thank you so much for dialing me in there. The ADHD ran strong there. He defined luck as equals lack of logic in tradings or trades that don't follow logic.
Okay. So I would say that you should not rely on luck in trading. Trading is more a probability arena. I think you could be lucky, but not enough to make a sustainable living out of trading. Mm-hmm. So we need to rely on a recipe that we will do every day the same. That after a couple of weeks, a couple of months, a couple of years, you have it working, okay? So again, for me, luck is maybe also like relying on emotional or intuition trading, okay? We have to remove ourselves, our humanness from trading. So I would say that, yes, sometimes you could be lucky, right? Sometimes I had trade that I bag held that went back to break even or with a profit. I was lucky, but I'm not lucky like consistently to make money in the market. So yes, sometimes luck could play a role, but I think it's more probability. And again, the process wins here.
You can tell who those lucky traders are. You'll find them out in social media sphere all over the place. And what you'll notice is their day-to-day P&Ls or their trades that they're posting, it's $2,000, $5,000, $2,000, $5,000, and then on a losing day, it's $50,000. It's 60,000, and there's never really an equation of balancing. And that's generically a good indication that the person is making money by doing some fairly by bag holding and averaging in and such, because when it finally hits their max pain, basically, they have to just accept the loss. So it really shows how far they're willing to go to the downside. But you also see they're not really willing to go to the top side. So they can't really be following that. When you're following folks like, Dr. V, which I've seen her trading in mine, generically what we're looking at is a fairly significant imbalance between our winnings and our losings. Our losings are generically quite tight, quite small, and quite intentional, because we understand we may even lose more than we win in a particular day. But the winner will outshadow the loser, where if they're not doing it correctly, you'll notice it's quite the opposite. The losers actually quite outshadow the winners, and that's what we want to try to avoid. So All right, so yeah, no luck at all, right? We want a recipe, I think is the right thing. And your recipe may be a little bit different. It's yours, it's unique to your taste, but it needs to be defined and it needs to be relatively simple. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like the pilot. You take a flight. Do you want your pilot to be lucky or you want your pilot to know how to drive a plane, fly a plane?
Oof, that's a scary analogy as someone who was just on a plane recently, and I'm going to I'm going to go with skilled pilot. No, Alex feels lucky, I guess. So Alex, good at you, man. Way to go. So of course, Verdi, my pleasure, and thank you, doctor, for keeping my ADHD on track. A trying challenge for all. So back to our what was our fear?
Anger.
Our anger question here. I want to make sure I get it right.
So again, anger is an emotion. It's human. Do we want to be human in the markets? No. Why? Because we want to be different from the 80% of people that don't make it. If you want to stay in the 80% group, continue being human, right? It's not what we want. We want to know what the 80% does so that we stop doing that. Okay, knowing that, the market is designed to trigger us. That's how they take our money. Sometimes they give us a little bit of money just to make us excited, and then they take it all back. Okay, so how can I stop doing that? So let's say that we are angry, because that's the question. Why would we be angry at the markets?
I'm gonna let YouTube give you a second, guys. Coming on, gals, coming. Why would you be angry?
So the person who asked the question, like, give me an example of why you were angry that day, or maybe if it's something that happens often, like, why would you be angry in your trading?
Now it's moving fast. We have lots. So angry because I was looking for the market does the opposite of what I thought I was right.
I did. You had expectations, right? So you're not angry at the markets, you're angry at yourself. Because you are building a belief of control. The market should do what I want because I had a trade setup. Again, what I said in the beginning, when we do the process right, we expect the outcome right. That's a natural way of thinking, okay? So we get angry because it doesn't do what it should do according to our beliefs. It's not because you believe something that it is true. And again, thank you so much, people, for sharing these questions, these struggles with us. It's so informative. It's so helpful, even for us, right? For me, I learned so much from you, from my mentees. So we get angry. I get it. The thing is, we need to understand that the outcome is out of our priority list. It sucks to have a losing trade. I get it. But it didn't work. You saw the setup. That's the most important thing. You saw the setup and you acted on it. And you respected your checklist. You should be happy. This is a winning trade, by the way. But of course, this trade didn't work. Does it mean that you will not have a beautiful month, a beautiful year trading? Because this one trade didn't work out? Also, I think we attach too much importance to one single execution. Successful traders lose all the time trades. Okay, it's okay. So we need to bring And it's good because you have great self-awareness there. You can name your emotion. You can say, I'm angry because the market didn't reach my target. That's beautiful self-awareness. Then what we have to do, okay, is then say, okay, I have an emotion because I was focusing on the outcome and I had expectations. So I need to work on that. I need to let go. Frozen style, right? Like you're frozen, letting go, okay? It's very important. The markets are the greatest self-development tool, okay? The greatest one, because you need to learn through them like a lot of things about ourselves. We need to learn our triggers, and the most difficult thing is to let go and not doing anything, because we think that if we don't push a button, we are not working. We are not trading. I am a trader, I should trade, right? So not doing something is actually doing something. Okay, so I would say get self-aware on that, write it down. Okay, when you journal your trades, please do not journal only the trade itself with the screenshots. Journal your psychology. This trade made me angry. How can I change that in the future? So then I would ask you a question. Knowing that the market triggers a reaction, how can you respond next time in the same context?
And I couldn't agree with that. And I think that really actually kind of cuts into like what Ram and Dalton were, talking about earlier about being too attached to your trades, right? And we were talking about letting the, feeling kind of triggered by the market. I think we kind of got both of those, right? Like she was saying, like specifically, you shouldn't be over attached to any one execution. You know what I mean? So work on doing those and some coping mechanisms for that. I do think, like I've been working on meditation myself and some other things like that, which maybe gets us into Timu's question, which I think maybe meditation, but you're still going to need physical exercise and such. Timu is living in Japan now and is having trouble winding down after trading because he has to trade so late. But he doesn't. It's hard to do the physical activity because it's late and all those things. So he's just knowing if you had any some advice for maybe ways to wind down after trading that doesn't necessarily require physical activity in order to still mentally wind down.
So I would propose that we do it at the end of this session today. So we take maybe the last 10 minutes of the session to do a meditation exercise.
Ooh.
I think the best way to unwind is to go back and recenter. Okay, meditation is so important because it makes us connect to ourselves, to the core consciousness. We are for real, okay? Not in our head, in our bodies, okay? We are pure consciousness where everything is calm and it is just unconditional love, right? We are made to love. We are made to be happy. Look at babies. Look at small children. They know how to live. They live in the present moment and they're pure love, happiness, bliss, and calm. And then we learn a lot of stuff and that messes with our heads, okay? So when we meditate, we bring the attention to what's important, our anchor, okay? So every time we do the exercise, we are more calm after it. And we, like I said, we reconnect to this space that we have inside. For me, it's around here, right? And we know that if we connect to that place inside of us, we will find peace, okay? We find peace just by being and stop thinking. Okay, the head wants to think, the ego, etc. Okay, so I most of the time unwind with like a little bit of meditation. It could be only 2 minutes. Just taking a couple of deep breaths will be so beneficial for you. And with my kids, when I lose my patience, okay, I need to unwind. Okay, if not, I'm gonna lose it, right? Just taking small breath instead of reacting to them being sometimes annoying, I learned to respond. In a couple of seconds, I changed the course of action there. Okay, so I would propose that we do that if people are.
I mean, I've enjoyed this. I think it'd be really fun for anyone there. So we're gonna do I love the idea of doing a little meditation session at the end. So hopefully everyone will enjoy that. For any of you who have not been exposed to this, take this from someone with a pretty hardcore ADHD brain here. I know it sounds a little scary, maybe even the thought of like just sitting there and just reflecting and really kind of embracing, but this stuff actually puts you more in control of yourself than you'd realize. And take that from, I'm not going to say like a critic, like a non-believer in the idea of it, but definitely not someone who has embraced it holistically either, because we got to always be honest here, right? So I think it's really cool. I think for our next question, I think we've got two that we can group together. They're both around, kind of on opposite ends of the spectrum. One is our guy Joey was talking about overconfidence in trading and trying to avoid the traps with that. And then we'll talk about Nav, who actually is talking about, now that he's a successful trader, self-sabotage. So he's really afraid of, now that he's doing well, he can't keep doing well. And he's starting to have some anxieties around that. So overconfidence in trading, good, bad, indifferent. Maybe not a bad to be a little narcissistic trader. Maybe sometimes not good to be a narcissistic trader. Like there's definitely a place where overconfidence, if you can't let go of a trade, right, because you're so certain that it's going to work and then it just keeps going the other direction, that's not good. But you can't not put a button either. So what do you think, Doc?
I think I would also ask what he means by overconfidence in terms of trading behaviors or trading thoughts. I would really need to know what it means for him or her.
Joey, I believe, was who asked the question. Joey, how would you, assuming you're still hanging, I know we talked for a few minutes on another side, but for you, what do you think? Define that overconfidence a little bit more. What to you is overconfidence?
And also, while we let Joey respond to that, if we make this team up more a regular thing on Wednesdays, the idea, I think, would be to have a theme every week so that we can dive deeper. Today, I'm going to take like questions, but it's not going to be like a deep answer each time. So I think that would be also nice maybe to have a session on self-sabotage, another one on overconfidence, like over trading, like every issue we could have a different topic. So that way we could really work with people. Also, could we bring the voice of the people in the room so we can interact more directly?
We'll talk with Carlos about that. It would be kind of cool if we could do like maybe a call-in line somehow or something like that. I think that would be a lot of fun. I'll talk with our guy a little bit and see if we can work that out.
That'd be awesome to take calls yeah.
I'm always in. So that always sounds fun. So Joey, did we get a comment back in from Joey on defining that part? So while we wait to see if that comes through, and that's on the overconfidence part, we can talk a little bit about everyone's totally in with the idea. And come on, people, keep it like Dr. V does not have a channel, and don't give her any ideas, wicked dude. She doesn't need all this extra stuff. We want her here on Wednesdays. Dang it, wicked. What is wrong with you? Don't give anybody ideas. No, I will take a second though, however, to talk about and then we'll get into Nav's question. I do want to go ahead and plug Dr. V's personal mentoring and coaching services, however. So if you would like to work with Dr. V and learn about her trading methodologies and styles, obviously join Bear Bull Traders, because you can see her webinars, as well as she's going to be building out additional futures content and psychology content behind the paywall of Bear Bull Traders. She also has her own small trading community that it's a mentoring community for her psychological work that she does, as well as she's privately practicing on stuff outside of trading. So if you we'll make sure that we include her contact information in today's session. So and then that way you can get in touch with her, but you can find her on social media Dr. V, and then you can find her through all of her websites. What's your website? I always forget the name of it. It's
I will send it to you in the chat.
She'll send it in the chat. We'll just have her post it. That way I don't have to say it because it'll just confuse all of us. So
and also in PCT every Monday at 11, where we discuss like
correct.
big capital trading. And yeah, BBT also, I'm there. Back to the Futures in a couple of minutes. So I have Back to the Futures lunch session in the BBT Elite webinar room at noon every Wednesday.
So what you're getting right here on YouTube on Wednesday, you can get an additional hour of every single time inside behind the paywall, but that's going to be a small group where you're going to really get her attention. You're talking, only 200 or 300 people in there. No, I'm just kidding. It's like 70 people or something in her sessions. They're getting bigger though. They're really popular sessions. So make sure. So we'll have Carlos post. You probably won't be able to post your link. The chat will probably kill it because we're not admins. So I'll ask. We need to telegram it to Carlos, and we can do that. And Carlos does actually say if we put a little work into it, we'll have to talk about it. We might be able to do the whole live call-in thing. So we're going to talk on this. If you like it and you enjoy this segment and you want us to put some fun things together for stuff like that, I definitely think we could do it. So fear of losing, self-sabotage. For a successful trader who has been trading and doing fairly well now, how do they keep it up? Just keep doing the same thing they've always done? Don't even think about it? Or
yeah, what would be different? So now that you're making it, it means your system works, right? So why would you change the way you fly your plane if you have beautiful flights? It works. So again, no emotions there. You press the button when you should, and that's it. Again, the feeling that you have, I experienced it. I had it, okay? So I do understand. I had a P Capital session this week, especially on that topic, self-sabotage. It is mostly unconscious. So I would say I am very, very impressed by your self-awareness here. It's not easy to pinpoint, so good job on that. Traders are amazing people. You guys, all the time when I speak, you're so inspirational. Thank you so much. So I would say that maybe in your brain somewhere, you feel in some way that you don't deserve to be successful or you don't deserve that money. So again, because I don't have your voice, it's difficult to go deeper into that. But what would be holding you back? Why is it okay to lose money and not be successful or like going there, okay? But not okay with being there, finally, cruising, knowing that it's not going to be easy, but it's for the first time, it feels like I reached my goal, okay? I still have a lot of work to do. I still have to learn a lot, okay? The trader we are today won't be the same as in 10 years, okay? So what would you say is holding, for me, okay? I come from a very low income family. My parents struggled. They didn't go to university. So at first, when I was making money fast, I felt like $100 could be fast, right? I felt a little bit bad about it. Like, is it normal, like, to make money that easy? I would say it's not easy, but you know what I mean. So I don't know, Thor, if you had self-sabotage at some point.
I have a lot of, so something Ben is actually saying in here resonates with me, right? Which is, I'll go a little bit over, it's this belief, and he put in this belief that we are losers deep down inside, right? So I kind of carry going through high school and going through all of these things. I was always kind of bullied when I was in high school. I never made like the captain of the football team, right? I wasn't like the valedictorian, right? I was just always kind of just like an average dude, right? I never didn't like get the most popular girl in class, right? Like, it's all these things. So it's like but as I went through life, you know what I mean? And all of these things, you kind of get this generic expectation that you're not going to succeed. And then you start succeeding, and all of a sudden you go, whoa, like I'm actually succeeding now, but you're not like used to that. So you're like, you're kind of like, wait, like, okay, like, so for the vast majority, because not everyone who comes into trading because I had $2 million and now they're becoming trading because they're bored and they're old and they have nothing else to do with their retirement. Although that is some of y'all, love you. Thanks for your money. But it's not, that's generically not the path for that for us. So even now, as someone who's written a book, as someone who gets to go to, cool meetups, and someone who gets to go to the, the NYSE and hang out with cool people, and, and does all this stuff, there's still this little like guy in the back of my head that's just kind of going, at some point this thing's going to come all crashing to the ground on you if you don't just keep, if you don't do it. I don't know what that is. I don't know how long it takes for that guy to shut up, but he's always in there somewhere. So I kind of resonated with, Ben said there, there's this little disbelief in there. Like, man, can I really keep doing this? So,
Again, first of all, getting aware, like, okay, I have these thoughts, but I know that I'm doing what I should be doing, and I will continue doing that. My belief don't have a place in my trading. I execute based on a system. So again, I remove myself from the equation, but we need to journal that. And I think I had, because I try to get everything out of my head, like Dumbledore. Okay, if I have like thoughts that I don't need anymore, like I just put them on paper with written. Okay, you need to write down. It does this magic connection with your brain. So I start writing, and I wrote about self-sabotage, and I ended up writing 7 pages of junk that I had in my head. At some point when you write, it doesn't feel that it's you that is writing. It's very weird. So I would encourage that you do this self-awareness exercise even deeper. What's hiding behind the thoughts that you have about that? What's hiding? And then we work with that. And also, interestingly, Thor, you said earlier that we feel that we are losers, right? So we expect, but how come when we lose a trade, we're not comfortable with it?
I actually think like when I lose trades, well, now not as much as when I used to. Now I'm quite comfortable with the thought of losing trades. It's, it's kind of that. But before, the expectation was that I would win. So that's why I didn't like that I would lose, because I thought I would win. So
why on the short term we expect to win, but when we go and win over the longer term, now we feel bad about it?
Yeah,
it's very interesting. What's happening there?
Yeah, I think for some, like, or in this instance, it's because the streaks of winning I have had in my life have generically been fleeting and not sustained. So like I have had small brief moments in my life where it's like, oh wow, everything's amazing, and then phew, it sucks out right from underneath you. It's like you get this really cool job. You're like, oh wow, this is going to be the big job, and then all of a sudden it's like, the thing gets swept out. So it's kind of almost like, over time in life, it's just that has become kind of the expectation, that it's like, although I have had moments in my life where I have done well, over generality, I have not done well. So you're just kind of waiting for someone to pull that rug out from underneath your feet. Like you're living this beautiful dream, like, wow, like everything's great. There's no way this can be awesome. Like I can afford stuff now, and it's like all of a sudden you're like, oh crap. Now if I all I have to do is like, all this weird stuff starts to come in, right? So it's like, but it's super self-inflicted, right? It's all self-fulfilling stuff. The system's working. Now, fortunately, I have a lot of faith in my system, and moving forward in my trading career, I actually do feel quite confident that I think I can replicate what I'm doing indefinitely. So I did manage to get past that, but that used to resonate heavily with me, especially like year 3 and year 4 into my trading career, where I had to push through a solid year or so where I was like, man, my system, I wrote this whole thing and it's still working. Like, at what point is it going to stop working? And at this point, I guess it'll stop when it stops, but for right now, I think it's good.
And the market repeats itself. So I'm seeing the time. I don't want to be late for my lunch session, and I would really like to do the meditation exercise with you. First of all, I would say thank you so much for inviting me today. I would appreciate working more together. I think it's awesome. Thank you everybody for sharing your questions, your struggle. Again, I would be more than happy to talk more with you in the future. You're also with Bearable Trader family. I mean, you are at the right place. Don't trade alone. This community is awesome. It's a family. People are so generous. So good job on that. And then, yeah, I will invite you to take a comfortable seating now, okay, for the last minutes of the show. And I would like to propose an exercise that I did with my mentees this morning about releasing the pressure to trade every setup. So if I have some of my mentees here, I'm sorry, but you're going to do the exercise twice today. I guess it's good, right? Still more training.
Extra. You need twice as much mentees anyway, so.
And I think meditation is so important for trading because we feel like we are doing nothing when we meditate. But at the same time, we're doing so much. And it's the same for trading. It's just training us to stop doing all the time, like actions. Sometimes not doing anything is what we should be doing in trading, right? Most of the time. Trading is waiting. So let's go to our exercise to rebuild slowly but surely our brain to become traders. So when you find a comfortable seat, I would invite you to gently close your eyes. Let your hands rest softly on your lap and take a slow breath in through your nose and a long, full breath out through your mouth. Again, breathe in deeply and exhale completely, a long and deep exhale. Let your shoulders drop and let your jaw unclench. Allow your body to soften with each breath. Now I want to invite you to bring your attention to your internal landscape. When thinking of the last time you had the urgency to take a setup, the fear of missing out, notice the tension, the urgency, the inner pull to act. To trade, to do something, to prove something. You're not alone in feeling this. The pressure to catch every move, every setup is real. But so is the cost of acting out of pressure instead of clarity. Breathe in And as you breathe out, repeat silently to yourself, I am safe to wait. Again, I am safe to wait. Each pause is not wasted. It's a skill, a decision, a moment of strength to protect your capital, to protect your mind. Notice any thoughts that arise. What if this is the move? What if I miss out? What if others are trading and I'm not? Just watch them. They are just thoughts. Just your brain doing its regular thing of just thinking. You don't have to attach to them. Gently return to your breath and continue observing. Inhale and exhale. Now remind yourself, you are not here to trade everything. You are here to trade your edge, to follow your plan. You are here to grow as a disciplined trader. Let that intention anchor you every day. This is winning. Breathe in and breathe out. And silently repeat, I don't chase, I align. I don't force, I wait. With every breath, you will choose stillness over reaction. The very thing the markets are designed for is to trigger a reaction. But every day you are stronger. You choose clarity over chaos. You choose your process over pressure. Let that settle. Take a last deep breath in, inhaling, taking all these intentions, and letting go as you exhale of everything, every thought that you no longer need in your journey. When you're ready, gently bring your awareness back. You can wiggle your toes, your finger, and stretch a little bit. And you've done it. You've done it. Congratulations. I feel rested. That feels good.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you again very much, everybody, for today's session.
Thank you, everybody out there in Bear Bull Traders and YouTube land. I hope you really enjoyed this. Thank you for coming by and hanging out with us. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hey, maybe we have Vanessa back next Wednesday, Dr. V. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you. And have a great session at Beer Bull Traders this afternoon.